Is it working? Wait, is this going out to Twitch? Oh, no, it's going... Wait, is it... Oh, no, it isn't going out to Twitch. Okay, good. It is working. Is it working? Wait, why do I have so many dropped frames? Is that... Please, not again. I even restarted the router. I restarted it. Please don't drop frames. Okay, hasn't... Looks like it might be okay. I hope it's okay. Anyway, I should probably post to Twitter that I am streaming, because that's like a thing people do, is that they announce stuff on their Twitter. And then we'll just get right into it. There's no face cam today because the 14900K is cooking me alive, and I'm shirtless as a result of that. I don't get how it pulls so much power just running memtest. Stupid CPU. So, do you all have timings? Because, as is tradition now, I haven't prepared anything. So if you all ain't got any timings for me to look at, this is gonna be real hard. Oh, okay, we've got some timings on 128 gigs of DDR4. Why do people build systems like this? At least, wait, something's wrong. Oh, I know what's wrong. Give me a second. Like, why is it looking like weird? And it's because didn't set things up correctly. There we go. This way, the timings will be easier to see, and you don't need to see like the address bar because it's not relevant. Okay, we got timings. A 5950X on a B550 Unify, running. I'm gonna go with Micron. Nah, it's a bit loose for that. Also, that's a Kingston part number. Oh, it's CJR. Okay. Wait, 16 gigabit CJR. Cool. Wait, who also sent something? No, you didn't. If you did send something, you didn't send it correctly, because I don't see it. Anyway, so what we've got here is 3600, which makes sense, because it's dual. Actually, does that really make sense? I mean, I don't know how CJR 16 gigabit clocks. I tried some, like, I have some, like, I've tried one 16 gigabit Hynix IC, and it did kind of clock like garbage, so maybe this is more of the same. Timings are, well, not great, which is unsurprising, because it's a 16 gigabit memory chip. I'm surprised the TRFC isn't worse. Like, this isn't the worst TRFC I've ever seen. TRRDs are good, WTRs are good, TWRs good, SCLs look good. Hey, we even got the dual rank timings set correctly. A lot of people forget those. And what's funny about that is if you forget the dual rank timings on Ryzen, for certain benchmarks, you end up with dual rank being slower than single rank. Yeah, so that all looks good. Everything's synchronized. SoC voltage is reasonable, which makes sense because this isn't some crazy high frequency. And we even have like a very sensible memory voltage. So, yeah, that all looks good. I guess we'll do the super chat next. That didn't take long for one of those to show up. I was kind of hoping to get through some like free submissions first, but oh well. It didn't come up with a better rule system, so here we are. Yeah, anyway, so this, like, I don't really see anything wrong with this 128 gig setup. Because, Yeah, this is not really I avoid memory capacities this high to the best of my ability. So anyway, let's see what next. 5800X 3D, but 32. Oh god, you used a super chat to send me some generic B-die dual rank. Is it even dual? Yes, dual rank B-die timings. Really? I mean the TRCD's. Oh wait, no, you're at 3733. So yeah, this is like, what's up with this TRC? TRP 12, TRAS 21. Oh, I guess you just did the like, oh, I don't want to think about TRAS, so I set it to 21 thing. But your TRC should be able to go lower. Yeah, especially at 1.5 volts, you should be able to run that slightly below 40. It shouldn't have to be that high. I don't think it would do 33, which is what like TRP plus TRAS would be, but like 38 would probably work. Maybe even 36, maybe 35 I think would really be pushing it though. Anyway, then we've got 4, 4, 16, 4, 8, 12, 288, 4, 4, 14. Yep, generic B-die timings. I've never seen these before. Good TRP though on this kit. 8 months stable, did over 24 hours in Karhu. Boring 5800X 3D B-die. Oh, he even knows that it's boring 5800X 3D B-die setup. And sends it in as a super chat. Anyway, so back to hopefully more interesting free submissions. Okay, that was the 128 gig. Okay, no, I'm gonna take a free submission and then we'll do another super chat. Actually, let me just check that, like, oh, well, that one didn't work. Now, did it work because I copied it wrong? Oh, okay, it didn't work because I copied it wrong. Anyway, so we've got a 5600 with garbage. Yes. 3200 CL16 memory kit from Corsair, and it's not good, which is unsurprising. What is this though? It kind of looks like C-die, because like 3533, it is dual rank, and C-die. Wait, but that TRFC is way high. I don't remember C-die being this bad on TRFC. Like, that was one of the few things it was actually decent at. The primaries were horrendous, but it did, like, okay TRDs, and TRFC wasn't the worst thing ever. But this is horrible. I am not... Like, I can't think of what... It says dual rank. Like, if this was 16 gigabit, I'd be like, okay. But this is a... And if it was, like, Samsung D-die, I would expect it to be clocked higher. Well, at least the dual rank timings are set. SCLs look good. TRC's not too bad. This kind of looks like a Micron of some kind, but like, is this some kind of garbage Micron memory chip? Because that's what it looks like. Like, this looks like some really, really horrible Micron. Because I can't think of what else this could be. Well, yeah. But, you know, considering that it's like a everything bin Corsair 3200 CL16 kit, this is actually not that bad. Like, being able to push it to 3533. Like, it could have been worse, I guess. It could... Well, actually... Well, it is dual rank, so it's not... Yeah. Like, I'm not sure if it would be worse if this was actual, like, 8 gigabit Samsung C-die. That might actually be slightly better because the TRFC would be less bad. Anyway, next submission. Oh. Alright, no, not that. We've got a 7800X 3D running 6000, 30, 36, 36, 36, 30, 66, so pretty typical Hynix primaries. I can't even tell, like, I can't tell if it's A-die or M-die because, well, yeah, this is 16 gig. Because like, if this was A-die, I would expect the TRP to be a bit lower, but it doesn't really matter that much from a performance perspective, so whatever. 66, 4, 8, cool. TFAW 20, cool. WTR is 416, cool. TWR 48, yep, that's cool. TRFC 477. SCLs at 4 and 2. RTP 12. TRDWR 16. WRD 4. Yeah, and then maxed out refresh interval. This is basically like the lazy Hynix timings from my video. Yeah, pretty much. And then we have SoC at 1.24, which is really high for 6,000. Like, even my potato grade 7800X3D, which literally doesn't do like DDR5 6200, doesn't need 1.24 for 6,000. So either you didn't bother to tune that, or this is just like the worst memory controller I've ever seen. And potentially, if you were like, if you lower the SoC voltage, you might be able to push a higher FCLK, maybe. Like, yeah, if you were at like 1.15 SoC, I think like 2200 FCLK could work, and 1.15 for 6,000 isn't like anything super insane. Like, that usually should work. I was increasing FCLK good for gaming. Yes, more FCLK is more better. Now, it's less important than memory clock. Like 6200 with lower FCLK is faster than 6000 with higher FCLK. But like, depending on your CPU, higher memory clock may or may not be possible, whereas high FCLK, like, it depends, right? Like, the thing is, like, high memory clock requires high SoC voltage, whereas high FCLK requires low SoC voltage, usually. There's some CPUs that can do high FCLK even with high SoC voltage, but usually if you want to do high FCLK, it means you need to run less SoC voltage. So, yeah. And to do 6200, you'd probably just have to slightly loosen out the primary timings, like instead of 3036. Actually, if you're lucky, 3036 might work at 6200, but if you're unlucky, you might have to run like 3237 for 6200. Yeah. Yep, that's all my thoughts on this, because this otherwise is very generic single rank Hynix setup. So I guess, should I go in order of who came first? Or, because I've had this idea, like, if people just kept reposting their, like, well, no, then it would make the chat, it would make it look like the stream has more engagement. On the flip side, it would probably get kind of annoying. Yeah, the thing is, like, doing it in order, it, like, is hard to keep track of. Instead of just, like, grabbing something relatively recent. But, I mean, for now, I can still keep doing in order. So, I guess, like, once it gets out of control, I'll just start going randomly. So your incentive to show up early into the streams. Anyway, so a 7800X3D. So the first thing I want to point out is the FCLK 2033 thing that's in my Easy Hynix Timings video. That was only relevant on old AGSAs due to a bug, and that doesn't work on the newer AGSAs. On the newer AGSAs, and by newer AGSAs, I mean literally it's been a long time since that bug actually worked. Like, probably more than a year that bug hasn't been a thing. But anyway, so now it would be better to run the FCLK either at 2000 or at like 2100 or higher, right? Not 2033. Like 2033 very specifically is actually slightly slower than 2000. And 2066 is also slightly slower, but 2100 is a bit faster, and then 2133 is more faster, and 2166 is more faster, and 2200 is usually about the limit of what CPUs can do. 1.25 SoC voltage. Oh, wait, I know why that is. It's because that's the SoC voltage I recommended. The reason I recommended 1.25 is because there's like no way that your CPU is so bad that 6000 doesn't work at 1.25. So that's my justification for that. Like most CPUs should be able to do 6000 at less than 1.2, but you know, if I want to make a guide where it's like 99.9, like ideally I would like it to work 99.9% of the time, 1.25 SoC volts is like the easiest way of achieving that. It's kind of like how motherboards default to insanely high like memory controller voltages all the time, is like it's the same reasoning. It's just like just set the voltage high enough that it basically has to work. If only Intel memory controllers worked like that. Anyway, 6000, 28, 35, 35, 35, 35, 70. So, like, tighter timings. That's nice on the primaries. You could probably lower the TRC a bit. As well as, like, play with TRP, TRAS if this is E-die. Not that it's going to make a huge difference, but, like, you could mess with that. Then we've got TRDs 4, 820. That's all good. WTRs 6 and 16. WTRS can usually go lower than that. Like it doesn't need to be 6. WTRL 16. A lot of the time WTRL will also go to like 14. But again, it's just that really doesn't make that much of a difference. So whatever. TWR 48, TRFC 475, cool. TRFC 2 and same bank don't do anything. You don't need to worry about setting them, because I don't think this is the auto values for them, is it? Why is the TREFI 12,000? Do you hate having performance? Or do you run your memory sticks at like 90 degrees or something? Because like, yeah, like all of this, like all of the primary timing tuning is like utterly like like everything else you adjusted makes less of a difference than setting TREFI to 32,000. So like, yeah, or like this is basically a disaster. Is what it is. This is really bad. Like, there's like, you know, like, how do people do this? Like, how do you, like, spend, I'm assuming, like, significantly more time on your primaries, and then your TREFI is garbage. Like, this is auto TREFI, isn't it? Like, is this RAM running at freaking 90 degrees? Because there's, like, no, like, this should be, like, even if your memory sticks are running pretty hot, you should be able to get away with 32,000 for like 70 degrees or something. And if you have decent memory cooling, you should be able to run 50,000 or 65,000, and that's going to make more of a performance difference than literally anything else you can touch as far as memory timings are concerned. So yeah, that is just like not okay at all. Like you don't run default TREFI. And then we've got SCLs at 4.4, RTP at 12. Yeah, everything else looks fine. And then what is this TREFI? Like, if you were following my easy Hynix timings, like, I'm setting the TREFI to, like, 50,000 in that video. So, like, not very good at following instructions. It's the XMP default. Well, yeah, but why did you leave it on the XMP default? Ryzen RTTs and ODTs? No, because, like, you just have to set them by trial and error. Like, if the motherboard doesn't do them for you correctly, you have to just manually trial and error them. Also, let's do the next super chat. Like, I don't care why your TREFI is so bad. Well, I don't care where the TREFI value came from. It's just like, why didn't you change it? Because you changed everything else, is my point. Right? Like, you tune all your other timings and then you leave the most important one on XMP? Really? Anyway, let's take a look at the super chat. So we got 3800 on a 5600G with Kingston value RAM. Yeah, so the issue is, like, I have no idea what memory chips are on there. Not very good ones by the looks of things. It can't be C-die, though, because that's way too much VDIM for C-die. If this was C-die, this wouldn't work at this point. And it is dual channel. For a brief moment, I was like, oh, is this like a 116 gig stick? Because that would be a disaster. So, yeah, I am not sure what this is. If you're on a 5600G, you should be able to go way past 3800. But then again, a lot of memory chips aren't necessarily capable of doing that. So, now I just dumped the IMGOR code. Yes. The last, like, portion of the IMGOR link, you dump that because, like, I swear I saw somebody manage to post an actual full IMGOR link into a chat on one of these live streams before, but generally YouTube blocks all links. So this is my, like, workaround for that, is you just post the ending of the link and then I can, like, slap it onto an IMGOR link myself. Anyway, so 38, 18, 20, 20, 40, 60, 4, 6, 16. Like, I'd be really interested. Like, I want to, like, if I knew what memory chip this is, this would be a lot more interesting. But this, like, that TRFC is kind of low. But that, like, this is it is Kingston. So it could be Micron. But Micron makes ICs that, like, some of them are really bad and clock, like, they won't clock very high. And some of them are really good and will clock really high. But I don't know what this is. So that makes this really difficult. But on a 5600G, I would definitely try to push for, like, at least 4400. So yeah, basically I would, like, loosen all the primaries to, like, probably like 22, 26, 26, 26. Probably TRAS to, like, 48 or something, because there's some Micron chips that, like, max, like, TRC is horrible. Everything else to auto, because auto for most motherboards just means JDEC. And then they'll, like, linearly scale it up with your memory speed. So you don't have to, like, manually recalculate. Like, if your TRFC at, like, 3200 is, like, 500, then, you know, at, like, 4000, it should be, like, 600 or something. The board does that for you. You don't have to worry about that. So just the primaries is, like, I'd loosen out the primaries a bunch and then see if you can push it to, like, 4400. Oh, it's Nanya. Oh, okay, then 3800 probably is the limit. I'm surprised the primaries are so bad, though. Well, then again, like, I guess Nanya has some, like, Nanya made, like, a really good 8 gigabit chip, and I don't know, and they make a bunch of memory chips, and I don't know how the other ones are. Honestly, this is really solid for, like, a value kit of RAM. So, anyway, well, I guess another super chat, because I took way too long on this one. We might go for, I usually go for, like, 2 hours for these, but we might go longer today. So, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll, like, depends if I'm bored in an hour or not. So 1700X3D at 6400, and it is running 1-to-1, so that's good to see. At 2133 FCLK, cool. 1.265 SoC, so a pretty damn good CPU right there. And then 6400, 30, 39, 39, 39, so that's just the XMP, isn't it? 30, 69, nice. Literally, both as a joke and literally, like, the primaries are just, like, fine. You could probably tighten them a little bit. So, you know, like, instead of 30, 39, they could probably do 30, 38. And if this is A-die, then the TRP could go lower. Like, you might be able to push it down to, like, 36, 34, maybe even less than that. Maybe even, like, 32. But, yeah, that like, it depends. Anyway, TRDs 4820 all good. Then we've got WTRs 416 good. TWR 48. TRFC 432. Oh, so this is A-die, I think. TREFI at 65,000. That's all good. And then SCL at 8. So this is a thing, like... I guess it's fine. Like, the thing is, technically, this is like the slow read-to-read operation, because your fast read-to-read is SC. Right? This is like, the memory controller will basically, ideally, not use this timing. It'll use this timing, as long as the data is in the correct, is organized across the memory banks correctly. This is a sort of like worst case scenario where it's like, oh, you have to read from the same bank twice in a row. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of slow. But the thing is, like, I have seen a few cases of this when like running higher memory speeds in one-to-one mode where like read-to-read SCL ends up being like really like it just gets a lot looser compared to everything else. So like 6,000 you might be able to run it at like 4, and then you go to like 6,400 and you need to run it at like 6 or 8. Anyway, so that's just kind of that. Then we have the WR SCL at 1, because I suspect AMD memory controllers don't actually use that timing at all. RTP12, that looks good. And then this is a single rank setup, so we've got that, you know, sort of silly thing of setting all of your unused timings to 1. If you ever upgrade to a dual rank setup, well, the board will probably reset the timings for you when you do that. But I have seen one case of somebody actually going from a single rank setup where they set all of the dual rank timings to like 0 or something, and then they upgraded to dual rank and their performance was horrendous because their like extra memory ranks were just like not running correctly. But that was an Intel system. I'm not sure, like, I think an AMD system might actually just not post if you tried to do that. So anyway, so this all looks good. I can't seem to get lower TRCD than 39. Might be able to lower TRP. Oh, so I guess TRCD is at the limit. Yeah, the TRCD is a bit, like, in my experience, the TRCD, like, random from memory stick to memory stick, basically. Like, some sticks do it really low, some sticks don't. And, like, it scales a little bit with voltage. Like, if you shove heaps of voltage into the memory stick, it might go down 1 tick. So, like, right now you're at 1.43. Like, maybe if you went to 1.7, it might do 38. But that's definitely not worth it. But I didn't bother to check because tighter timings also require higher SoC voltage, which destabilizes my Infinity fabric. Cool. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I ran TRP 30 at 6400 on my A-die. Yeah, but like TRP in my experience is like random. From like it's not consistent between memory sticks at all. And I usually don't manage to get it as low as like as I've seen. Like even if I leave TRAS like really loose, like TRP doesn't always get super low for me. Though usually, like my experience with it is usually it does like 2 ticks above cast latency minimum. And if the sticks are bad, it does like 4 ticks above cast latency or 5 or like 6. But yeah, 39 at 6400 is definitely way higher than it needs to be. Like you can probably run TRP 39 at like 7200 with A-die. Anyway, I guess I'll grab the next super chat. An Intel system, an ASRock system with DDR4 on a Okay, wait, we're gonna open this like this, but... What? Oh, wait. Single rank Hynix? Oh yeah, this... I'm guessing this is 16 gigabit Hynix. Running 4800, 2126. Did you actually set that to 0? Because I haven't tried that. And I'm not sure what'll happen. Like, I'm not sure what that'll do. Anyway, 26, TRAS 52. I guess that makes sense. Like, the thing is, I've definitely not used this Hynix memory chip, because the one 16 gigabit Hynix chip I've used, like, doesn't clock super, like, very well. 4, 630, 65,000 refresh interval, so that looks good. TWR is on the looser end of things. Yeah, because, like, TWR pre's at 36, which I'd probably try to tighten that. Not a huge deal from a performance perspective, like, but you could. Also, this is in 2-to-1 mode, so that command rate is fake. It's not 1T, it's 2T. Because the thing is, when you're in 2-to-1 mode, the memory controller is literally clocked at half what the memory is running. So it is physically impossible to send a 1 memory clock cycle command, because the memory controller is running at, like, you know, like, the shortest cycle of the memory controller is 2 cycles of the memory. So anyway, like, if you're looking at this like, whoa, 1T at 4800, it's not actually 1T at 4800, it's 2T. Same thing for DDR5 for that matter, is like, because DDR5 is permanently in 2-to-1 mode, or 4-to-1 mode if you're going for frequency records, your command rate is actually double what it says in the readout. Or, well, the command duration is double what it says. I don't, like, the term command rate was accurate for, like, in, like, the DDR1 days. It does not make sense to call it a rate, in the, like, current DDR era. Like, even, like, DDR2, it wasn't really a rate anymore. Anyway, TFAL 16, that's good. RTP6, yeah. TCK4, TCWL20. I could probably go lower. Not that it's going to, like, make a huge difference to performance. 7, 4, 11, 11, 7, 4. I wonder if in 2-to-1 mode those 7s are real. Because on DDR5, you can't set odd tertiary timings with Intel memory controllers. And I'm not sure if it's a DDR5 limitation or if it's a 2-to-1 mode limitation. But I haven't looked into actually testing that with DDR4. Like, I've tested it with DDR5, but I haven't tested it with DDR4. I guess the easiest way to check would be to set your DG timing to 3, and if it doesn't crash, then it's getting rounded up to the nearest even timing. Because the thing is, like, it is physically impossible to have a read-to-read DG of less than 4. As then you'd have, like, overlap between the read bursts from the memory. Anyway, WRD, SGDG 34 and 24. I guess that's just a Hynix thing. I don't know. Never used these memory chips. And then dual rank timings aren't relevant. So, yeah, this looks neat. I wish I knew more about this kind of stuff. I guess this is probably better for performance than trying to run this in... Because, yeah, like, the primary timings are still gonna suck, even if you're, like, if you were in 1-to-1 mode. The primary timings are still gonna suck, so that's not gonna change, and everything else is, like, you can't, like, your DG timings aren't gonna get any lower. Your TRRDs aren't gonna get any lower. Your TRFC is gonna get slightly lower, but TREFI isn't really gonna change. TWR that's not really going to get better. RTP's already about as low as it goes. TFAW isn't getting any better. So yeah, I guess for something like this, 2-to-1 mode does make sense. I'd probably I'd definitely try to lower the TRAS more though. Because Intel memory controllers, like you can get, like you gain performance by just pushing the TRAS down. And on a lot of, well, for 4800, I don't think you need a TRC of 78. So yeah, I would definitely try to push TRAS lower. Also, I wonder about that TRC DWR situation. Like, I guess it's not impossible that the memory controller could send and activate and then immediately try to write. Because, like, the actual, like, write data would arrive 20 cycles later. So by then, like, the memory chip might be able to, like, might already be ready to write the data, but, like, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, because that isn't something I've ever tried myself. Next super chat. Though now I kind of want to try it, but I have like so much stuff to do. So yeah. Wait, what? We've got another 12700K. Oh no, this is DDR5. Oh, this is M-die. Yeah, 12700K with... Wait, no. No, I don't think this is M-die, because if this was M-die at 6600, this could probably be lower than that. Also, this is terrible. Yeah, this is absolutely... Oh my... Ugh. What is this? Bro. This is E-die. Okay, yeah, this is E-die, that TRP. This is awful. This is like... Did you never run a benchmark? Like, how did you think this is okay? Or did you benchmark this by mouse feel? Because that's apparently a thing that people do is like, oh, the mouse feel. Because this is a disaster. Like, this is actually, like, your read to writes are like your right, like... We got tertiary, like, I can't even, like, this is actually horrendous. Like, initially, wait, okay, so 32, 40, 30, 30, 2T, right, yeah, because DDR5. On a Z690 ASRock board. 8.4, that's fine. 385, 30,000. I mean, it could, like, it doesn't, like, 30,000's better than, like, it's not that bad. TWR14, RTP16, TFAW22. Why? Why is the TFAW22? TCK25, yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, like, whatever. Like, there's other issues here. There's bigger issues. TCWL28, okay, fair, fine. But then you get to the tertiaries, and it's like, okay, so we've got TRDSG, like this is running DDR5 8000, except it isn't. And we got TRDWRs that I just do not understand. Like the motherboard, like, I don't think this is auto from the motherboard. Because if this is auto from the motherboard, then like ASRock must be doing their best to lose every memory benchmark ever. This is so bad. Like, read to write transitions don't take as much time as write to read transitions. Because if you think about it, right, the point of the read to, like, well, it's just like different, like, it takes less time for the memory chip to transition from, like, outputting data to receiving data compared to you know, switching from receiving data to outputting data. That's like why WRRDs are always really loose, right? Like if this was an Intel setup, right? Like WRRD over here is 34, but read to write is 11. Yeah, because like transitioning from read to write operations is a lot simpler than transitioning from write to read operations. But like, what is this? Like normally these would be like at 6600, I'd expect these to be at like 16 or something. And TRRDSG should be at like 12. Like this should be 12, 8, 16, 16, 12, 8, like 48 or something. That what like I'm like on the system sitting next to me that's currently cooking me alive by running memtest. It's at 7600 and the TWRRD DG is at 44. Okay? You're at 6600. This doesn't need to be a 42. And then this is is this single rank? I'm going to assume it's single rank. We're not, so like the dual rank timings don't matter, but yeah, like this is bad. These tertiaries are bad and like you need to go fix them cuz just like if you like I don't get where you got the idea that this is a good idea. Anyway, next super chat. Hopefully less horrendous, because that was painful. This is painful to look at. Like this is almost as bad as how like somebody once sent like somebody figured out that it's a lot easier to run DDR5 8000 if you set your DG timing to 16. Which is like, yeah, that would make DDR5 8000 a lot easier to run because it literally cuts the read bandwidth in half. You've effectively turned DDR5 8000 into DDR5 4000. That's why it's so much easier to run. Anyway, oh, an X299 setup. Yep, this hopefully should be better. Apparently some of the timings just don't exist in the BIOS. Well, it is a Gigabyte motherboard, so that's not surprising. Gigabyte is probably the worst. No, it's like Gigabyte EVGA. Yeah, Gigabyte and EVGA are basically the worst when it comes to like hiding stuff in the BIOS. Probably followed by ASRock. And then like in terms of exposing the most settings, it would be like kind of a tie between Asus and MSI. Except yeah, I'd say Asus probably has the most like in terms of things you actually want in your BIOS, Asus generally tends to probably be the best, except for the part where they rename everything. So it makes it really hard to like translate Asus settings to other motherboard vendors. And then other motherboard vendors, like things just aren't present. Anyway, let's take a look at these. So this is DJR, right? Oh, wait, it says in the screenshot it's DJR at 1.4. Oh, and it's running DDR5, DDR4 4000. So 17, 22, 22, 22. Yeah, pretty typical DJR timings. 1T command rate, which is like a funny thing about the HEDT Intel memory controller is it generally has an easier time running 1T command rate than the mainstream memory controllers do. TRD's 44, TRFC 470, refresh interval 32,000. This is maxed out. X299 just doesn't let you set it any higher than that. So, yeah. TWR12, RTP6, TFAL16, good, WTR6, WTRL11, TCK10, WCL14. That all looks good. And then the tertiary timings, I unfortunately don't know them for X299. I think this is read different rank, which at 4 makes sense. That's actually that's probably wait. I'm not sure how they're counted. That's probably fine. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have like a ton of experience with tuning tertiaries on X299. Wait, is it? No, DR. Like I. Because like I'm looking at this like same group. Where's like same group, different group? But then we have like TRDS. Oh wait, we have like TCCD and TCCDL, right? I forgot about that. So, yeah, that I can't say with 100% confidence, but this looks fine. Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this looks fine. Cause like I don't like yeah, they're just the fact like all the timings are named differently, and actually like the TCCD timings like those don't exist on, or like they're named completely differently for the mainstream memory controllers. So like yeah. Also, I'm not even sure, is this a single rank setup? Because if this is a single rank setup, I think basically most of these timings aren't even relevant anyway. So I might be looking at things that aren't a concern. Oh boy, there's a bunch of super chats. Okay. Let's take the next one. We have a 5800X 3D. Running some Micron E-die. Didn't take screenshot, but passed 12 hours of mem test. Cool. Didn't check if 1T works, since 2TCL17 doesn't boot. Cool. TRCDRD16 doesn't boot. Yeah, that makes sense. It's Micron. Like, that would, like, yeah, that doesn't work. TRC48 doesn't boot. Yep, that's normal for Micron as well. WTRL10 gives errors. That's not very, yep, that's pretty standard Micron things. 538 doesn't work, but maybe 552 could work. Yeah, but it's like 552 isn't going to really be any faster than 567, so like that I wouldn't bother. CWL15 doesn't boot. Um I'm pretty sure you can't run odd cast latency if you have. Oh wait, no, you have gear down mode disabled. Okay, yeah, cool. So that just doesn't work. RTP8 WR16 gives errors. Didn't try RTP9 WR18 since that didn't seem worth it. Why are you writing these in groups? But RTP8 and W. Wait, why do you have W? Like, you do realize this governs the delay between a write command and a pre-charge command, and is the delay between a read command and a pre-charge command. And now somebody is going to probably go like, "Oh, but in the DDR4 JDEC documentation it says that these two are like have like a relationship." Yeah, they do on the memory stick, not in the memory controller, because the thing is the memory controller can send read and write commands with an auto pre-charge like suffix. So you can say like read and pre-charge yourself, right? So then the memory controller doesn't need to send a pre-charge command. And if the memory controller does that, then the memory stick uses its own internally programmed pre-charge delays to do the pre-charge, like to like time out when the pre-charge is supposed to happen. But if the memory controller is controlling the pre-charge, it can send that pre-charge command whenever the hell it wants to. And the memory stick will do its best to do it anyway. So this kind of these don't actually have a relationship with each other from the memory controller side. So yeah, I would just try to set TWR to 10 or 12 or whatever. Also, I'm not sure if the relationship is like RTP is half WR. But anyway, RDWR9 doesn't boot. Cool. GDM didn't improve any timings, even when changing drive strength and setup. Yep. And 5800X3D minus 30 curve optimizer. Also Galax Gamer RTX 3080. Cool. Okay. So 18. Are you at, no, you're at like 1.5 volts on the memory. Why is your cast latency at 18? I should, like, wait, oh, you mentioned that 17 doesn't work. Oh. That's weird. Because at 1.5 volts, I would really expect cast latency 16 to work. But, oh well. So 18, 8, 18, 16. Like, that's a surprisingly low TRCD for Micron E-die, and that's a surprisingly high TCL. But whatever. TRS 21, TRC 52. Wait, so what? Well, whatever. And I'm just like you, like I don't because I saw this and I'm like, oh, so it's like these don't have a relationship to each other. And then I see like my typical approach of like, yeah, just set TRAS to whatever and then worry about TRC, and it's like, okay, like I'm just confused about that. Or it's like this seems like you're trying to follow some kind of rule from somewhere, and this approach of like TRP TRAS 21 TRC 52, which like works. Like I don't see any problem with that. Like I do that. But like there's like supposedly a rule that you're not supposed to, like, your TRAS plus TRP is supposed to be your TRC, and then there's supposedly a rule that your TRAS is supposed to be equal to like TRCD plus whatever. And I don't know what the rule is because it doesn't matter. So anyway, because at the like yeah, but anyway, so I just find that sort of strange to see like, oh, this is like ignoring all rules, and then you have like this TWR concern, whereas like, but you could just like at the end of the day, setting your TWR from 20 to 10 is probably not going to drastically change your memory performance. It's not like a big deal, but like I'm just surprised that you just have like this really rigid approach to this instead of just trying to set TWR to 12 and leaving RTP alone, which is what I would do. Anyway, TRD 44, 16, 4, 12, 20, TRFC 567, that all looks good. SCL's at 2.2, that looks good. It is dual rank, and we've got 4, 4, 6, 6. Yep. Like, cool. This looks good. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that the cast latency doesn't go any lower. I would really try to boot it at 16. Like, I don't, like, maybe there's something weird with 17 being, like, an odd number. Like, I know you have gear down mode disabled, but, like I mean, also, like, going from 18 cast latency to 16 cast latency, it's not really going to change the performance that much. But, like, it's just weird to me that, like, 16 wouldn't work. Because, like, Crucial literally sells, like, 3600 CL16 E-die at, like, 1.35 volts. And, like, I don't know if they sell it, like, if they still sell that, but they used to sell a ton of that stuff. So it shouldn't really be difficult to do 16 at 33 with 1.5 volts. Anyway, next super chat. Apparently somebody gave up on their tertiary timings. A Maximus 7 Impact. Ooh. As far as I know, this is a speed bin, not an actual memory chip. Just like, fun fact, this is like one thing that if you go back through like DDR3 overclocking history, there was like a lot of basically like, yeah, like I'm pretty sure this is a speed bin and not an actual die revision. And there's like a lot of stuff like that if you go back through time where people would look at like some part of the like part number or whatever, and they would think like, oh, this is the chip revision, and it's like, no. No, it's not. That's the speed bin. So there's like a bunch of really like horrible information for like DDR3 because people just didn't know what they were looking at. Um, but yeah, 1.65 stable with a 4790K. That is. Oh, I guess you didn't delid it. Wait, what? No. No. Are you subscribing to the whole like, oh, core clock and uncore should be at the same frequency? You do realize the whole reason Intel decoupled the ring is because the ring was bottlenecking the cores. Like Sandy Bridge, the ring and the core, like the ring and the cores ran at the same clock. And then Ivy Bridge, the ring and the cores ran at the same clock. And then Haswell, they decoupled the ring clock from the cores because the ring is a power hog and it needs stupid amounts of voltage to run the same frequency that the cores run. Or your 4790K is just really terrible. That's the other option, is that like for why you'd be at 4.5. And again, like usually for 4.7 you need like 1.3-ish. But I'm still confused. Like how are like 4.5 Wait, no, there's a separate ring voltage on Haswell, isn't it? Oh yeah, because you have the integrated voltage regulator, so you have a separate voltage for that. They got rid of that with Skylake because like I think it was like not efficient enough or something. Anyway. Okay, so actually this may be, yeah, I guess like if you're not delidded, then cooling anything more than this voltage gets really, really difficult. Let's take a look at these timings. 10, 12, 12, 31. Fine. 2400. Yeah, this isn't really anything special. 4, 220. Horrible refresh interval. And if I remember correctly, you can definitely change the refresh interval on, what is this? Z97? So, yeah, you should do something about that. Because, like, yeah, that's like costing you quite a bit of performance. Like, I'm pretty sure you can set it to 32,000. So you should do that. TWR10. I kind of suspect that it might be able to go lower than that, because that's like DDR4 levels of TWR. That T-fault is horrendous. Like, actually just horrific. TCKE4, I think is fine. WTR8, okay. TCWL6. Cool. And then read to read for different rank 5, different dim 4. Well, that looks fine. Right to read, I think this is loose, but like I've not done a bunch, like I've not messed with DDR3 in ages. So yeah, I'm not sure on the tertiaries. But to me, it looks like you gave up on, like, because wasn't this like I gave up on tertiary timings? Yeah, but you gave up on your secondaries too. Like, the T-fall is just horrendous. Like, there's absolutely no reason that it should be a 26. And the refresh interval is bad. And I'm pretty sure Samsung can do lower TRAS than 31. Yeah. And that would already help quite a bit. And if this is single rank, then the tertiaries... Is it single rank? No, it's 2x8 gigs, so it's probably dual rank. So the tertiaries look, I mean, some of them look kind of high, but like anything that's a 4, I think is probably as low as it can go. Unless they're counted differently from how they're counted on DDR4. This is like a really annoying thing, is like AMD, do I have an AMD screenshot? Oh yeah, I do. So AMD counts their tertiary timings like completely differently from how Intel does, which is how like SC over here is 1. Right? Read to read SC1 is the equivalent of Intel read to read DG4. Like, what that actually leads to as a timing delay is the same thing. There is no gap between two read bursts. But AMD counts it differently. And so AMD, it's 1 to get no gap, whereas Intel, it's 4 to get no gap. But I am not sure if Intel DDR3 is the same thing. Because we had that like X299 system, and there the TCCD is at 0, which would be no gap again, I guess. So I'm not sure if like the DDR3 memory controller uses this logic or if it uses this logic for counting the timings. Though that should be pretty easy to test because if you set a timing that is like being used to like way too low, it'll just not post instantly. Anyway, next super chat. Oh boy, another Ryzen system. Oh, that's the that's a CPU. Okay, not the APU. Got a 5600. Apparently, somebody who doesn't know about the print screen button or the snipping tool application, because this is a phone screenshot. It's fine. Like I've done the same. I guess maybe if you're like watching the stream on mobile, this is a more convenient way of posting the screenshot than like, yeah, that would make sense. If you're watching on mobile, then I can understand. But if you're not watching on mobile and this is how you decide to share your timings, like you need like there's a screenshot utility in Windows. You should use that. Anyway, 5600, 3733, 18, 22, 22, 21, 62. Some kind of Micron probably? 6624, 412, 653. We don't have a voltage readout, which is really annoying. Is there any information? Wait, this is a team group stick? So it might be C-die, but like C-die doesn't need TRRDs this loose. Wait, no, because it's single rank and it's 16 gigabit. So I have no idea what this is. Because it could be like, because there's like a good 16 gigabit Micron chip, which this isn't, because this is bad. There's a bad 16 gigabit Micron chip, which this could be. There's like a whole bunch of 16 gigabit Hynix chips that I don't know very much about. So it could be one of those. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be very helpful with this. I still have doubt, like, TRDS, though, I think should probably be able to go to 4, and then you can set your TFAL to 16. Like, I would try that, because for DDR4, that's, like, pretty important, especially if you're on a single rank setup. Yeah, and then, like, TRFC and... Well, the thing is, this is 16 gigabit, so that TRFC is probably not going to go like, it's not probably going to get very low. And yeah, like TRCD generally doesn't scale on most chips. So yeah, the main thing I would try to do is get TRRDS to 4 and TFAL to 16. I would not... Like, the other timings are just less important than that, because as it is right now, like, I really doubt that you actually need TRRDS 6. Like, pretty much every DDR4 memory chip I've ever tried did TRRDS at 4. And TRRDL, like, can sometimes be pretty bad. But, like, at least the different bank timing usually doesn't have any issues. Is it different bank? No, different group. Yeah, different group, not bank. Because you have multiple banks in the same group, and that's what the other timing is for. Anyway, so yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have much to say about this, because, like, I don't really know what it is, and I don't think even if I did know what it is, that I'd have any experience with whatever it is. Like, Sarthor to Micron Rev F. Huh. Yeah, that would make sense, because, like, that would be the, like, not good Micron memory chip. I know, I should have maybe adjusted the window scaling a bit. So that it like matches on my end. Yeah, that works. We'll go with that. Anyway, let's take the next super chat. Got some 14700K with a 7200 G-Skill kit running 7400 on a Z790-F motherboard. So that's impressive because that's a 4 dimmer. And then it's running 34. Actually, maybe, you know, maybe this was better. It was a bit bigger. But anyway, 34, 44, 44, 44, 44. That's a lot of 44s. 2T. Eh? TRD SG16. Why? Like, I'm pretty sure Asus on auto sets this to 8, unless this is M-die. Wait, I guess, wait, is this 24 gigabit? How do you not post the capacity of your memory kit? No, even if it was M-die, Asus would default TRD SG to 10. Also, these timings are horrendous. I mean, they're not the worst one we've seen so far because somebody managed to post something just, like, horrific, but, earlier. But, this is not good. I'm gonna go with this is M-die, because that TRFC is really high. Like, this is 24 gigabit M-die, I'm assuming. Which would also explain how it's doing 7400 on a 4 dimmer. So yeah, this could be 10 instead of 16. That would help. 576, that's actually probably fine. 65,000, that's fine. TWR could definitely get lower. RTP can be lower. RTP could be like 16 or even at 7400 even like 12. TFall 32 is fine. TCKE 8. TCWL, it's Hynix. You can go way lower than 32. Read to read, same group, 16 at like worst. Like seriously, like there's absolutely no reason this should ever be 20. And honestly, at 7400, you can probably run it at like 14, or maybe even 12. But as a minimum, I would probably go like as a starting point, I'd go 16. These 20s could definitely be 18s instead of 20s. WRWRSG 16. They're like this is auto probably. But yeah, like 16 probably and 12 would probably work. Like 16 definitely will work and 12 will probably work. Right to right same group 80. This could be like low 60s. Actually 7400 like 64 or something. So yeah, mid to low 60s for that. This can be in like the mid to low 40s. And then this is single rank, I'm assuming, so we don't have to worry about the dual rank timings. WR pre 90. That doesn't need to be 135. It could probably go below 90, but like I'd start with like 90. And WR PDEN 90 as well. Also, there's a timing in I think timings tab 3 called TRFC per bank or PB or SB or something like that. In the BIOS, it's the timing below your TRFC, right? You'll have like TRFC2 and then there's another TRFC. And Intel actually uses both of them. So you should tune the second one. That one can probably be like 440 or like 420, something like that, like low to mid 400s. And that'll give you a little bit more performance as well. And since you're on an Asus board, you can also go in and like disable all your power down modes and memory controller idle and all of that. So yeah. Anyway, next super chat. We've got Looking for anything that looks wrong or should be better. Well, let's see. Oh. $14,900 KS with DDR4. Truly a CPU for those hard of thinking. Oh, and this is like some... Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so 4014. I hope this is dual rank. Okay, it is. Okay, if this was single rank, I would actually just, like, not comment. Actually, no, I would still comment. But I'd be way meaner about it. 4000, 14, 14, 14, 14, 28, 2T. Sure, yeah, okay, yeah, for dual rank, that makes sense. TRD 44, TRFC 240, refresh interval 65,000, TWR 11, RTP, which TWR isn't real. We have WR pre 32 and 32, that looks good. TFall 16, TCWL 16. Why? Why isn't, like, this should be the same as your cast latency, or even like 2 ticks lower. Now, occasionally you'll get motherboards that are like super weird about things, and like your cast write latency will have like a hard limit that doesn't really make sense. But like the MSI boards, in my experience for DDR4, are just fine. In fact, they're probably the best on LGA 1700. And so you really should be running like 14, and this should also be like 14. I don't understand why it's 16. That doesn't really make any sense. Not that it's going to make a huge difference to performance. It's just weird that your cast write latency is 2 ticks above cast write latency, because typically it's typically it's either the same as your cast latency or 2 ticks below, or like 1 tick below. It kind of depends on the platform. Like some platforms are like 1 tick down, some are 2 ticks down, but it's never higher. Like it never has to, like, yeah, it never really should have to be higher. So doesn't really make a ton of sense. Anyway, 7, 4, 12, 12, 7, 4, 28, 24, 7, 7, 12, 12, 7, 7, 7. Yeah, that all looks good. An RD pre. Yeah, yeah. So everything else, like everything else looks good. Oh no, my chat jumped. Okay, I found where I was. So yeah, I don't really see anything to change about this. And I guess depending on what exactly you're doing with the system, DDR4 might be better than DDR5, but that is very rare at this point. Like DDR5, even at 6800 for most applications, will just kind of crush this. But there are exceptions, and if your primary use is that exception, then sure, fair enough. Next super chat. So let's see what this is. Ooh, we've got stress tests and like memory latency tests and everything. Cool. And that is a very long stress test. That is 6 hours of Y cruncher. Okay. Oh, that's 8200 on a Z790i Lightning. So yeah, I've heard that this board is like really, really, really good. I'm not actually going to verify that myself, because I suspect that my CPUs are so bad that they just, like, every motherboard just gets converted into 7600 max. I don't, like, I don't, like, you know, it's just going to be like, yes, I bought another motherboard and it still doesn't do 8000. It's just like, no more. But anyway, so yeah, 8200, 38, 49, 16, 48, 36, 2T, 12, 8, 704. Is this 24 gigabit? Yeah, this is 24 gigabit. That makes sense. Oh, you also have the, like, thing with TWR not wanting to go. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, because, anyway, RTP13. Oh, right, because Intel, that's not really a real timing. TFAL 16, TCK8, TCWL 636. I would be surprised if you weren't able to run lower cast write latency, but it's not like it matters that much. And then 16, 8, 22, 22. Yeah, for 8200, that makes sense. 16, 8, 64, 48. That's actually, like, surprisingly tight, in my opinion, for the write to reads. Wait, what voltage is this at? $1.45. Oh. That's like I thought that would need more voltage, but okay, cool. And then it's single rank, so the dual rank timings don't matter. And then, so yeah, we have a huge, like, 6-hour Y cruncher, and then a 7-hour test mem 5. 8K team group deltas with a 14600K at 5.6. Not fully done, but seems stable. Well, it always seems stable until you try to run it for 16 hours. or you restart the system. But yeah, like, the timings look fine. I unfortunately can't really, like, I've just given up at 8,000 on, like, speeds this high with Intel systems. Like, just completely given up. But if it works for you, good for you. Because I can't get it to work. And the timings for this look good. So. Oh no, what did I click on? No! Oh, that made it so much worse. How do I get back into the, like, live stream page? Oh. Oh, we're back. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, cool. I'm not, like, I haven't lost everything. Okay, well, due to the next super chat. I know I'm, like, not reading chat very much, but, like, I'm so behind that, like, I just want to get through these. So I'm sorry about that. We have a 14.7. Wait, another 14.7. Oh wait, it's the same thing. Wait, you want to hit 7600 or 7800? Do you have an Apex? You don't have an Apex. Yeah, so that's not going to happen. Your motherboard has too many DIMM slots. Like, if you wanted to do anything, like, I'm honestly surprised that 7400 works at all. Like, assuming it works in the first place. So this is single rank 16 gigabit. Wait, this is the same thing. What did you want me to... Second and third timings are... But I've gone over this. Like, see... Like, I already said everything I wanted. Like, this is... Like, I already said everything I wanted to say. Like, I'm honestly surprised this works at 7400. I'm kind of worried that if you tighten up the timings, it's actually going to drop to 7200. Which, like, it'll still be faster, because 200 megabits per second with bad timings is going to lose to slower with good timings. So, because the thing is, like, like timings are basically like the way to think about the memory timings is how many clock cycles you're wasting waiting for stuff to happen. So you can, like, if you have a lot of clock cycles, but then everything takes forever, you're not actually getting anything done, right? Whereas if you have few clock cycles, but you use them very efficiently, you're faster. So, yeah, but I've already said everything I wanted to say about this before. Like, I guess now I know that it's 16 gigabit, not 24 gigabit, which just makes it all the more impressive that it runs at 7400. Oh no, we've got more generic Samsung B-die in another super chat. Well, let's see. Is it bad generic or good generic? Bad generic. Terrible. Why? Like, I recognize that username. Why would you send this in? This is literally freaking auto. Yeah, this is auto Samsung B-die. It's like I mean, the primaries aren't auto, but everything else is 3800, 16, 16, 16, 38, 87, right? Like TRC's on auto. TRD's 710, garbage. TFOS 16, that's not auto, but like, it's not doing anything because the TRRDs are trash. TWRS5, WTRL 14, trash. TWR26, trash. TRFC 320. That's okay. Wait, what? Are you serious? What? How? GT403, like, bro, haven't you been like a like, I swear you've been like part of the community for like years, I'm pretty sure. How are you posting this? Have I taught you nothing? This is so bad. The SCLs are bad. RTP is bad. Everything about this is bad. The dual rank timings are... Wait, is this... Yeah, the dual rank timings are also bad. Like, my initial thought was like, oh, it's B-die. It's just going to be generic Samsung B-die timings, but no. It's auto timings. It's worse. Because, like, the generic timings are boring, but, like, they are, like, they're good, right? Like, they're generic because they're good. It's like, you want good timings for your B-die, you just run the generic timings because they're basically as low as they go anyway. And then there's this monstrosity. And, well, I mean, it's not really a monstrosity. This is just auto motherboard settings, like... So anyway, what this should look like is like I'm not going to bother with the primaries because those are kind of like random kit to kit in terms of what'll work. But what this should probably look like is like 16, 16, 16, 16, 21, 40, 4, 6, 16, 4, 8, 10, or 12, 320, sure, whatever, 4, 4, 14, but honestly 16 is fine. Yeah, actually 16 is also fine. An RTP like 10 or 8. Yeah, so this is bad. But the worst, like, the TRRDs here are, like, super bad. And that TRC also really hurts. Like, it really does. Like, TRC is one of the timings that, like, has a surprising amount of impact on performance with Ryzen CPUs. And then also the SCLs are bad. Like, those should definitely be 4. Oh, yeah, also your dual rank timings, 4, 4, 6, 6. Which you have half of that. And the reason you have half of that is because this is same DIMM, and this is 8 gig DIMMs, so there's 4 memory sticks in there, right? So the unused timing is, like, tight, because it's not used. And the used timing is loose because the motherboard is like loosening it out for compatibility reasons. Anyway, is that all the super chats? I think that's all the super chats. So now let's just grab. Well, I can't scroll all the way back up, so I'll just grab some. I'll go in order from the last super chat. Yeah, let's go with that. Somebody says they have slammed dual rank Hynix M-die timings. I'll be the judge of that. They better be slammed if you're going to be calling them slammed. So this is at 6,000 CL26. Okay, that cast latency is slammed. So this is a Strix Z690i. Okay, and then TRCD36. Wait, is this 12th gen? Okay, it's a 12700K. Yeah, like the thing is the TRCD is like some kits just don't do super low TRCD, so like this could like for this kit this could actually be the limit. So I guess yeah, sure, slammed. TRP36, yep. TRS26, that's definitely slammed. That's like like I'm not like the thing is I'm not certain that the Intel documentation is 100% correct about this, but according to the Intel documentation, you shouldn't be able to set TRAS below 28. However, you can, and it does seem to help with performance. So sure. Command rate 2T, well, that's not slammed now, is it? Though admittedly doing 2T on dual rank is like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, 1T on dual rank is like not going to happen. Anyway, TRDs 4.4, TRFC, that's loose. Then again, the TREFI is really high. Wait, what temperatures are you running these sticks at? Because fun fact, like at 6,262 refresh interval is actually like 30% longer, I think. Yeah, it's like 30% longer than if you were at DDR5 8000. So this is actually even more of a refresh interval than the same timing at DDR5 8000 because the clock cycles are longer at DDR5 6000 than they are at DDR5 8000. Anyway, that TWR is slammed. RTP, that's not. Like 12 is pretty normal. You can run 12 even at pretty high frequencies. If it was like an 8, I'd give you the like it's slammed, but like 12, that's pretty normal, man. 16, sure, slammed. TCKU4, yep. TCWL, nah, man. Now M-die, I don't think M-die is quite as ridiculous about the cast write latencies that you can run. But Hynix chips on DDR5, regularly you can set the cast write latency so low that it looks broken. But it works and it like gains performance. So like, you know, if you're going to be telling me your timings are slammed, that TCWL better be like 16 or something. TRDSG12, okay. DG8, sure. This is at 6,000, I'm pretty sure that could be 16 instead of 18. WR10, sure. 48, 36, yep, okay, that's cool. Different rank. These are loose. Wait, are they? No, because oh, right, yeah, because DDR5, it like doesn't do the different rank timings as low as DDR4 does. So, okay, no, that's fine. 14, 14, 18, 18, 14, 14, 12, 12, yep. And then TWR pre, TWR PD, and 33 and 34. Yeah, so mostly slammed. I will say, but I have to wonder, like, what temperature, like, how are you cooling these? Because these are dual rank sticks. They run really hot, and you're running them at 262 refresh interval. Like, are these on water cooling or something? Because like, if the sticks go above like I think like 40 degrees, like your data's just gone. Anyway, we'll do the next one. Oh, wait, there's a... Okay, I'll grab the super chat after we do one more free submission. It's been an hour and 30 minutes already? Damn. Okay, I guess we might go longer, because so far the submissions have not been too boring. Okay, we've got a Ryzen 5 5500 at 4733. That's cool. Man, like, imagine if the APUs didn't have, like, the APUs didn't only have 16 megabytes of L3 cache. Like, they would probably be... Yeah, if the 5500 and the 5700 had 32 megabytes of L3 instead of just 16, they'd probably be second place to the 5800 X3D in terms of gaming performance. Because the memory controller on them is so much better than what you get on all of the CPUs. And also you get to run much higher FCLKs, which helps. But anyway, TCL 16, 15, 15. This is really tight. Oh, it's at 1.6 volts. Okay, that makes sense. Still tight, though. 16, 15, 15, 21, 36. Oh, man. See, now, this is slammed. Anyway, 4, 4, 16, 6, 14. Why is that TWR so loose? Also, that RTP. SCLs are bad. And this is single rank, so we don't have to worry about the dual rank timing. So, like, primaries are really good. Like, you did all of the really important timings, though I really wonder about the SCLs. Do they actually not go below 5, or, like... Can't find the final tune, but this was close. I'm gonna hope that the final tune involves SCLs to 4. Because I'm like that, I think, that is the most upsetting part of this to me. Like, TWR isn't really... Like, you can tighten TWR a lot. Like, I would expect at 4733 it can probably do 12. Or even less than that. But, like, it's not actually that important from a performance perspective. Whereas the SCLs are. Like, those just directly affect your read and write bandwidth. Whereas this is just like, oh, after a write operation, how quickly can you pre-charge? Which, to be fair, like, how quickly you can pre-charge affects how quickly you can open a different row, but usually that isn't something that, like, is super important. Because that can be sort of, like, hidden pretty well by the memory controller. Anyway, so let's now take a look at the super chats. Which we've got a Z690-F with a 13700K running 6933. Yep, that's the Z690 motherboard experience. My Z690 just don't want to do 7000. Yep. That sounds about right. 6933, 30, 39, 36. Is this A-die? If this is A-die, you could probably run that at 34 instead of 36. But anyway, 28, 2T, 7, 3. This does... You can't set DG to 3. Okay, that is not a thing. You definitely cannot set it to 3. I think it automatically corrects to 4, but I think if you, like, set it to 2, it actually, like, breaks and, like, lowers performance. So I, like, just set it to 4, because this just looks weird. 395, cool. 65,000, cool. RTPA. TWR set so low that it's, like, bug. Oh, his PDEN is set to 2, so TWR is, like, bugged out. Oh, well. TCWL22, cool. TFAW 16, TCK4. 13.7, so this is actually like 14.8, 18, 18, 10, 8. These are kind of loose. Well, SG is probably not, but DG I think could go a bit lower. Not that it's going to make a huge performance difference at this point. And this is single rank, so all your dual rank timings being set to 0 doesn't matter. TWR pre 42, 22. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that looks like timings look good to me. But yeah, you're on a Z690 board and a 4-dimmer, and, like, yeah, they don't clock very high. So that's just kind of that. Is Z690 4-dimmers that, like, yeah, like, even with 13th gen, they're just not going to clock particularly high. It could be, well... Like, it could be, like, I think it could be worse. You could have the, like, early production Z690 Apex boards, which were straight up, like, defective on one of the memory channels. But yeah, like, this is the, like, one downside to if you're, like, buying Z690 motherboards, because sometimes you'll find, like, really good deals for Z690 boards. Like, you'll get high-end Z690 boards for, like, under $200. This is the downside to that. It's just like they do not clock memory as well as the Z790 boards do. Well, depends which Z790 boards, because there's quite a few 4-dimmer, like Z790 4-dimmers, which are also pretty bad. So, it depends. So anyway, next super chat. Link isn't working. You probably have it set to private. Yeah, you need to make your posts public if you want to share them. Jeff G. So I'll take the next submission after the last super chat. Supposedly unsupported RAM on this motherboard. I had to up the voltages to get it stable. Which voltages? VDDIO? Because, like, none of these look particularly high. And then your timings are, like... Now, the thing is, this is a 6000... I think this is a G-Skill kit. F5. Yeah, that's probably a G-Skill kit. But I'm not sure. Like, this could be Samsung, which would be bad. And would potentially... If this was Samsung, that would potentially explain why it wasn't stable. If it's Hynix... that doesn't really make sense that Hynix would be unstable out of the, like, even on auto, but like the Samsung sticks do tend to have like weird compatibility issues. It's QVL. That doesn't matter. Like, if you take Hynix QVL for Intel, it doesn't matter at all. G-Skill 4040 is not Hynix. The thing is, like, when DDR5 launched, like, I don't know how old this kit is, but old DDR5 kits, like early DDR5 kits at 6000, 40, 40, 40, it was just everything. Yeah, and G-Skill's, like, main Samsung bin was 36 flat. So, like, this could be a mixer, like, this could be a blender bin where it's just everything. Yeah, but Kingston bins differently than G-Skill does. Anyway. Yeah, but then this is all auto timing. So, like, if it's Samsung, I have a video showing, like, Samsung settings with, I think, the ASRock HDV board. And, like, the timings should be, transferable. Voltages won't be. But Samsung, in my experience, doesn't scale with voltage anyway. So, like, that doesn't really matter. Like, the primary timings are the same at, like, 1.35 volts as they are at, like, 1.65 volts. And then, yeah, that's kind of that. Like, because off the top of my head, I don't remember timings. I mean, I guess I could just look up the video myself. Ryzen, Samsung, DDR5. Oh, would you look at that? That worked really well. It's almost like I title my videos to be searchable, in spite of YouTube's garbage search algorithm. Yeah, so basically at, what voltage is this? Oh, I ran it at 1.43. I don't think it's scaled. I just, like, it's just, like, max voltage. Anyway, so the timing should probably be, like, TCL, I would try, like, 32, TRCD 34, TRP 34, TRAS, 80? Oh, man, Samsung apparently sucks at TRAS. Well, that's news to me. So, yeah, TRAS, like, 80, TRC. Actually, you know what? I would just not touch TRAS or TRC. I'd just leave them as they are. TRDS, an L. Apparently, you could do 4.4, or you can just do 8.8. TFall 32 or 20. WTRS at 4? No, 6. And WTRL 20. TWR 48. TREFI 65,000. I think the refresh interval sucked. Oh, yeah, it did. So TRFC, you can leave TRFC on auto. SCLs, I want to say 816 or something. Show SCLs, noob. Oh no, YouTube, why are you like this? Oh, it doesn't. Okay, SCLs. Read to read SCL can be 4.4. Oh, they can be 4.4 apparently. Oh, right, because right SCL isn't even, like, used. Also, RTP can go to 16. Anyway, I'll just drop a link to the relevant video for the timings. Wait, what? VDD MISC is 1.3. What? Why? VDD MISC doesn't power, like, anything. Like, it powers, like, the Infinity Fabric. It doesn't power the memory controller. Okay, let's grab the next, submission. Oh no, I closed the thing again. Why is this not working? Yeah, okay, well that one doesn't work, so that makes my life easier, I guess. Yep, can't get that one to work. So I guess I'll just grab the next one. Oh, this is bad. This is some, like... I mean, it's an interesting approach, but man, it is... Oh. Oh. I don't think it's good. Yeah, no, it's not good. What motherboard is that? What? Edge, shut up. What are you... Let me... What board is this? This, like, the motherboard name is short, which, you know, when you don't pay a lot of money for your motherboard, they don't give you many letters. And when your motherboard doesn't have a lot of letters, it's probably not very good. So, yeah. That actually doesn't look like it has a super low layer count. I'd love to know why you didn't just get an ASRock B650 HDV, though. Okay, I'm gonna check the QVL here because there's our compatibility, memory. So, how much do you care about idle power consumption versus how much do you care about performance? Oh, they don't sell the HDV there. Oh, well, yep, that's a good reason to not have an HDV. If you literally can't buy it, that's a good reason. You're going for efficiency. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes it different because if you actually care, like if you are going for performance, this is bad and you need an intervention. If you're going for efficiency, this is actually kind of like, yeah, this makes sense. It's still bad though. But at least you're not trying to get max performance out of this, because if you were trying to get max performance out of this, this is like the opposite of achieving that. So the first thing I would try to do is like the TRC is like, because it says TRAS can't go lower or I get errors. Okay, fine. But that TRC does like lower TRC. It like it shouldn't be 168. That's really bad. TRDL should be 8 probably. Like that shouldn't be a problem. TFall 32 should be fine. WTRS and L. I mean, WTRS could probably go to 6. WTRL could probably go to 16, maybe 18. TWR, I would be very surprised if that didn't do 48 because that's like internal to the memory chips. So that doesn't, the memory controller doesn't really have to worry about that. Read to read SCL probably could be 8. Probably. And write to write SCL could also be 8. RTP, I would try 16. TRDWR and WRD, I'd try like 16 and 4. Refresh interval, you can raise the refresh interval. Yeah, I'd raise the refresh interval. And this is single rank, so there's not really anything that's a change here, is there? Yeah, no. You could probably, this is going to be E-die, so you can probably try to lower TRP a bit. Like it could probably do like 38 or 36, and you shouldn't even have to raise the voltage for that. But yeah, if you're going for idle power, like if you're trying to minimize SoC power consumption like this makes sense. It's just the timings aren't optimized at all. Sorry for not sending timings properly the first time. What? But I saw your timings twice, and they were the same both times. Like, I don't... Oh, I've lost it at this point. But, like, you sent the same timings twice. Like, and the first time around, I already said everything I wanted to say. Anyway, I have managed to completely lose track of where I was. Oh, wait, no, I found it. So I guess we'll go to the next submission. Actually, what you could do is you could probably run the timings that I use for like I have a video I think showing DDR5 8000. You could probably run similar timings to that for this. Anyway, let's take a look at another submission. We have a unique title with some Micron E-die. That is 3200 XMP running 3600, 1618, 18, 3684. These are auto timings. 6, 9, 38, 5, 14, 26. Now, the issue is, like, my experience with trying to tighten timings on E-die has been, like, not great in the past. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't try to run, like, 4, 6, 16. You can definitely set TRCDWR way lower than 18. RP can sometimes go a bit lower. TRC should go lower. I don't think it needs to be at like 84. It doesn't go super low, but I think it does like 60s or something. SCLs, I would definitely try to do like 4.4 for the SCLs. And then I'd also probably actually try to run it at 3733. Because if it is E-die, then like running 3733 should just be a matter of raising TRC-DRD to 19. And maybe bumping the memory voltage to 1.4. And that would probably work. There anything else I want to add to that? Oh, and you can like TRFC can go below 600. You should be able to do like 550 or something, I think, for E-die. Anyway, let's take a look at another submission. Oh boy, this one's a long one. There's like all these screenshots. It's working pretty well until 1 week. After that, it just stopped working correctly. After that, I decided to go to 7800 with 102 FCLK. Interesting. B650. Oh boy. B650 Gaming X. Wait, that's one of the 6-layer gigabyte boards, isn't it? Oh boy, this board has so many revisions. Okay, well that's okay, I give up. Oh yeah, it is a 6-layer. Even like the first revision was a 6-layer. Because the Gigabyte had like a bunch of boards that had like a first revision 8 layers, and then they like released new versions with 6 layers, but this is a 6-layer from the get-go. But yeah, so this was 8000. You covered up your timings with the test mem 5 completion. And then this randomly broke until... Wait, did it work for a week, or did it work for like several months and then just break and then like... Because that's like been... Like, I've seen even like DDR5 6000 just randomly break sometimes on AMD CPUs. And anyway, let's take a look at this, I guess, because this apparently hasn't broken yet. So we have 7956, synchronized FCLK with UCLK, 34, 45, 45, 44, 44, 88, 88, 32, 624. Yeah, this all looks good. Wait, is 16 gigabit? Damn. Yeah, I've not had much, like, I've tried to do DDR5 8000 on the, like, 4-dimmer gigabyte boards I have, and I've not had very much success with it. Like, so far, the only motherboard I've ever had running DDR5 8000 successfully, or even DDR5 7800, is the B650 Tachyon. And everything else is, like, it'll run for, like, 10 hours, and then it'll error out. Like, the HDV and the X670 Extreme are both, like, really good at that, where it's, like, the X670 Extreme has, like, no issues with Y-Cruncher, and then it'll run like 16 hours of Karhu before erroring out. And it'll run Y-Cruncher like forever, but Karhu it'll error out after like 16 hours or something, which is really annoying. And the HDV is the other way around, I think, where it runs Karhu forever, and then it crashes in Y-Cruncher. Also after some like ridiculously impractical amount of time. So I've just kind of... yeah, not been able to run high, like DDR5 7600 works like super easily on both boards, and then more than that is just like only the Tachyon in my experience. So I don't know, it might be the CPU memory controller at fault or something. Also, I usually for like the DDR5 set, like for Ryzen, I usually use the dual CCD CPUs, which might put more stress on the memory controller, like somewhat. I'm not sure. I don't have like I have a 7800 X3D and a 7600, and the 7600 is just super slow at memory stress testing because it only has 6 cores. That's like the annoying thing with running memory stress tests is like they do run faster if you have more cores. At least to a point. Like the 7900X, I think is actually more. Like for some tests, I think the 7900X is faster than the 7950X, just because the 7950X is like there's more congestion on the Infinity fabric compared to the 7900. But anyway, still the timings here look good. And honestly, I am impressed that you have this working on a 4-DIMM motherboard. So I guess the Gigabyte 6-layer topology is like is good. And I really need to test one of those boards. Cuz yeah. Anyway, yeah, 7600 on AM5 is like super easy. At least on Gigabyte and the HDV board. My 4-DIMM ASRock, like my live mixer, 7600 is a massive pain. That board is like easy up to like 7400, and then the ProArt that I have literally like doesn't post at 7600 at all. And the QVL for the ProArt is like DDR5 8000, and I'm like, I don't know what ProArt Asus uses for making their QVL, because my ProArt doesn't even boot 7600. So I don't know how they have 8000 on the QVL. It's just like yeah. Anyway, oh, and then my MSI ITX board, that doesn't work above 7200. That board is horrendous. There's a short story about SoC pikes? What do you mean pikes? Where pikes? You mean the fish? I unfortunately don't know what a good CPU score for TimeSpy is for a 7800X 3D. Oh, there's the short story. I'm assuming by pikes you mean spikes. For around 1 month, VT3 done after months, it just stopped and only... SoC isn't rock. You mean the voltage? Also, it's spikes. Yeah. The thing is like when you use software voltage monitoring, sometimes the spikes and the drops are actually just the software being bad or dumb or glitching out or so this is like a really good example of this is like a lot of DDR5 memory sticks will like randomly report insanely high really high temperature. And I also have a bunch of DDR5 sticks which will randomly report extremely low voltages. Like you'll have it set to 1.6 and it'll randomly drop to 1.35. I've measured like a few DDR5 sticks. I've never seen that. Actually, not a few, but I've measured like a couple. Like 2 sticks. I've never seen that actually like happen in the real world. So like software measuring things doesn't mean those things are happening. At the same time, that doesn't mean they're not happening. It's just really like you basically need a second measurement to verify that the software isn't just being software. So that's really annoying. But the random instability after about a month, that's just if you don't have I wonder if you have fast boot turned on, then it could just be like it might just need to retrain every time at these kinds of settings. You might have to force retraining all the time. So BCLK 102 is slightly faster for 1 and 2 core boost, but multi-core performance seems to be about the same. Multi-core probably hits the thermal limits, whereas single core doesn't. Is why that would happen. And 102, 101 BCLK be a problem? I don't know. The main yeah, like I don't know, because I've heard of like BCLK overclocks causing issues with NVMe drives, but like until recently, I literally didn't have any NVMe drives. Like as of right now, I still only own one NVMe drive, and it lives in my daily system, and my daily system has an external clock gen. So I don't like I don't really feel like testing, you know, BCLK effects on SSDs with an SSD that I actually have a bunch of data on that I care about. Um, Personally, I would probably not run a BCLK overclock every day if I had an M.2 drive, like a PCIe M.2 drive. I think the SATA ones probably don't care. As for what you could do to make it rock solid, I would definitely experiment with like having it not retrain. Because if it like randomly loses stability after like some amount of restarts, I would try if it like if you have it retrain every single boot, it might actually work better. Which is funny because you'd think like if it trained once correctly, it would be best to keep the same training data, but yeah, maybe not. Because it used to be that like not like skipping memory training was very, very broken, where it would like break after like 2 restarts. So like it might still be some leftovers from that. Anyway, I don't think I've ever actually like the thing is I don't have this board that you have, right? Because the Gaming Axe, like let me just pull it up. Like this is one of the cheapest, or okay, not cheapest anymore, but like cheaper boards that Gigabyte has. And so it'll have like a different voltage controller from everything I've tested. So like, you know, it's like, yeah, I've measured like the behavior of like high-end Gigabyte boards and they all behave well. But that doesn't like I literally don't know how this behaves because it's like a completely different VRM. So yeah, the spikes on the like it could just be buggy software readings. It could actually be an issue. Like how big are the spikes? Because if it's like a couple millivolts, it might be real. If it's like 100 millivolts, I don't think it's real because if it was 100 millivolts, the system would probably just crash. Like you wouldn't get to check, you know, if the voltage like if the voltage drops by like 300 millivolts, the system won't be running at that point. If your like voltage is set pretty close to like optimal. So yeah. Anyway, next super chat. Hopefully this time Jeff G has it working. Yes, you do. Well, let's take a look at this. Got a 3600 CL14 B-die with a fan on a Z790 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. Can you give me some tips for 4400? Buy a better CPU. Yeah, buy a better CPU. What SA voltage are you at? CPU SA 1.3. I mean, you could try more System Agent, but if more System Agent doesn't help, then buy a better CPU. Like, yeah. Like, I'll put it this way. I have a 12600, like, now I haven't, like, gone through and checked the DDR4 memory controllers on all my, like, Raptor Lake chips. But with Alder Lake, I had a 12600KF, which I still have, and a 12900K. The 12900K would literally never, ever do DDR4 4000. It just didn't do DDR4 4000. You could push all the voltage in the world into it. It wouldn't boot, like, be even remotely stable. I don't think it would even boot 4000. I don't think it was even like a matter of like, oh, it's very unstable. It was like, it doesn't post at 4000. And then I bought a 12600KF, and that chip immediately booted 4133. on the same motherboard with less voltage, right? Like, so when it comes to like, especially on DDR4 in 1-to-1 mode, it's just like either the chip does whatever memory speed you want to do at like a reasonable voltage, or it doesn't, and then it doesn't. So yeah, and quite frankly, instead of worrying about doing like DDR4 4400, I'd say you should get like dual rank memory. Yeah. How on earth do you have a 14900 KF and you're running single rank? Like, you do realize that single rank is just worse than dual rank, right? Like, even Pi Prime. Like, I think the only thing you could ever test that'll tell you that single rank is better than dual rank is IDA latency. Because IDA latency test is literally sending like a single read to a memory stick. And yeah, if there's less ranks, it takes less time to find the damn thing that you're trying to read. But in the real world, if you're playing a game or something, that game is reading like hundreds of megabytes of data from the memory sticks. So it would be nice if it didn't have to wait to open a new row all the damn time. Like, that's actually one of the biggest benefits of DDR5 is that it has more bank groups than DDR4 in a single rank. And that's why, like, dual rank for DDR4 is such a big deal, is because you don't have that many ranks to interleave, like, operations across. So, yeah, like, dual rank DDR4 4133 is actually just better for performance than, like, single rank at 4400. In fact, now this is like Ryzen. Well, okay, no, that's 2-to-1 mode versus 1-to-1 mode, so that's not really fair. But like generally, like as a general rule of thumb, dual rank is equivalent to like 10% more clock speed. So like DDR4 4000 dual rank is like better or about the same as DDR4 4000 single rank. So yeah. I would get dual rank with this, especially how 14900 KF and single rank memory. Like, well, also like this is like this system just like annoys me. Like, this is a relatively expensive motherboard for a DDR4 motherboard, right? It's not a Z790 Pro, right? That's like the cost-effective option. Mind you, the Pro has the exact same memory topology as the Tomahawk, and you don't even get a postcode for all of that extra money. And then we have a 14900 KF with single rank RAM on a kind of overpriced DDR4 motherboard, and I am not impressed. Also, I don't think your round-trip latencies are turned on, are they? Because that looks kind of loose. But it's been a while since I've checked, like, DDR4. Wait. I did a DDR4 video with 13th gen. It was, like, 4,000 or something, because, like, of course, like, my potato CPUs are just potatoes, so... I think it was the 13900K. Oh yeah, it was with the 13900K. And it was DDR4 4000. Wait, what did I want to check again? Oh, RTLs. Oh, damn it, I used freaking... I used memtweakit, so I can't see the RTLs on... Wait. And I didn't open the RTL page. No! How is somebody this incompetent making YouTube videos? 40-minute video doesn't show RTLs. Can you believe this? What trash. Absolute garbage. How does this person have 170,000 subscribers? But anyway, yeah, I would still go dual rank on this. Also, yeah, I don't know about the RTLs, because I don't remember good RTLs for DDR4 off the top of my head. So, next super chat, I guess. Can I copy your daily system RAM settings? Yup. Do I need to copy voltages? Probably. Which X870 is good? I don't know, because I don't have any yet. It's kind of hard to know how good something is if you haven't tested it. I mean, I wish I could know how, like, you know, I wish I could know if something is good before testing it. Then I wouldn't have to test it, because testing is a lot of work. It would make life so much easier if you could just, like, look at things and know if they're good or bad. But, I can't. Alright, why is TRDS 6? What? Did I miss that? Oh, wait, there was more? Oh, he has the timings. Okay, yeah, he swapped it around. Yeah, because the timings, like, I glanced over... This is one thing that trips me up constantly, is how, like, some boards, you have TRD, like, TRD L and S. Like, they're not consistent in which order they are, depending on which utility you open and which, like, BIOS you're in. Also, yeah, these, like, orange timings are, like... Wait, why are you bothering with setting your dual rank timings? You don't even have dual rank. Yeah, these are, like, DR, DD, these are all dual rank timings. Like, why are you even trying to set them? You have single rank sticks. Anyway, let's take a look at this. A 5700X3D with auto timings. Oh, this is probably Hynix. Oh my god, that T-fall. Oh, that is so bad for performance. You know what I find really funny is how, like, TRDS is at 7 and then the T-fall is at 40. Like, functionally, this is the same thing if this was 10, 10, 40. Because, like, what T-fall does is if the two TRDs are too short, it, like, adds delay on top of them. Right? So, like, if you do 4 TRDSs in a row, that's, like, 28 cycles, which is less than 40. So it just delays by another 12 cycles. Amazing. Oh, well, if XMP timings made sense, I wouldn't, like, be able to make these videos, would I? Oh, yeah, it is Hynix. It says right there. So this is probably CJR, because it's like a 3600 CL16 bin. So CJR, maybe DJR, depending on when it was made. 16, 19, 19, 39, 58. That looks fine. TRD's 4, 6, 16, right? Like, always. Hynix, like, yeah, that should work, as far as I know. WTRs, I don't know off the top of my head. I think it can actually go pretty low with Hynix sticks, but I'd probably start with, like, 410, and then, like, try, like, 2... Like, I think 2 might work for WTRS, and WTRL, like, 8 or 6, maybe. TWR, 12, 10, I think should work. TRFC. I want to say it could do 500. Right? Yeah, 8 gigabit Hynix. I think this could probably do 500. SCL's at 4. Is this single rank? Yeah, this is single rank, so we don't have to worry about them. Don't have to worry about dual rank timings. That TRDWR is like horrendous. That could probably be less, but this isn't a like I haven't spent a ton of time tuning Hynix memory sticks. And I can't remember off the top of my head if this should be lower. It probably should be because this is probably terrible for performance, but I'm not sure how much lower. I'd probably like try like a 10 and a 4 instead of 18.7. Yeah, though didn't I even have a video about like CJR on Ryzen? Ryzen, Hynix, CJR. Like I do have a few CJR kits. And I think DJR isn't that different. Oh wait, I even have a DJR video. So regardless of what you have, where timings? Oh, yeah, so if this is DJR, you should be able to do like 4, 4, 16, 4, 8, 10, 450, like 455. 2, 2, wait, no, this is a Asus board, so 4, 4. And then RTP6, not 14. And then, yeah, RDWR 10 and WRD 2. And TCWL, oh, you're already at 16. So, yeah, that's fine. And if this isn't DJR, but it's CJR, there actually might be a better... Oh, wait, no, that's Z390. Ooh! Man. Wait, there's no Zen timings in this. No. Oh, this is really old. Oh, this is from 4 years ago. Well, that explains that. Okay, timings now, please. Oh no, it doesn't show the... You know what, I'll just link the video. So you'll have some inspiration for what to do. There. That's some like CJR overclocking from 4 years ago. Okay, so there. That's my thoughts on this, because this, yeah, if it's CJR... Actually, you know what? I'll even link the DJR video. Because, like, ultimately, I, like, for all of this, like, I'm basically just, like, as far as the timings go, it's like, yeah, this is just, like, stuff... Like, either you have a memory chip I've made a video about, and then I can, you know, just sort of reference that. Or you have a memory chip that I've never seen before, and then it's like, well, whatever. I guess. Okay, next super chat. Ooh, a 9950X. Same timings on 2 DPC versus 1 DPC? What? Selling Gene? Because you're running... Yeah, well, you're running at 6200, so, like, I don't know why you need a Gene. What, did you think having a better memory topology was going to make the memory timings, which are internal to the memory chips, better? This is one thing that frustrates me so much. Oh, it's 96 gigs. Yeah, the thing is, like... Well, I mean, still the point is like if you're at 6200, yeah, 1 DIMM per channel versus 2 DIMM per channel doesn't really matter. But the thing is like, um, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, like technically there is like a way to run like high speed 2-to-1 on 96 gigs, but I don't know how to do that. Like there's like a bunch of tuning you have to do to the resistances because they're not, or at least they weren't like I don't think by default they're correctly set up for dual rank, and like setting them correctly is like just trial and error. So I actually just don't know what the correct settings for that are. Because I haven't spent a bunch of time on it. Because I think it's kind of pointless. Because even if you do get 96 gigs clocking like better in 2-to-1 mode, it probably won't do 8000 anyway. And so then you're still better off just running 6200. But anyway, this is a thing that like has bugged me for a while. Is like a lot of the time you'll see people talking about like, oh, the motherboard has a better memory topology, so it'll do like better memory timings, and that's just not true. Like, it was never true because the cast latency does not measure, like, this isn't a timing of, like, from the memory controller to the memory stick. This is a timing of inside the memory chip, how long does it take to grab the data that the memory controller requested and put it into the outputs of the memory chip, right? So it's literally the data is moving from inside the memory chip to like the front door of the memory chip, right? So the position of the front door on your motherboard does not affect the speed of the cast latency, right? Because the cast latency is how quickly the person inside the house gets to the front door. Where that front door actually is relative to your like memory controller doesn't matter. And the same is true for basically every other timing. Like TRCD, how long does it get to like take to like wake up the people inside the house? TRCDWR is like, how long does it take to wake up the people to like send them a package or something, right? TRP, how long does it take to put one group of like lock one group of people up and like unlock a different group of people? Actually, no, TRP doesn't even like unlock anybody. It just locks some doors inside the house. WR is like how long after receiving a package you wait before you start lock a door inside the house, right? So like all of the like motherboard topology does not affect, like generally will not affect memory timings. Now motherboard BIOS configuration can sometimes do some really wacky things with memory timings. Like there's a on Z390. Asus had like horrendous support for A2 PCB memory sticks, and one of the side effects was the timings were really bad. But that wasn't a topology issue. That was literally just like the BIOS wasn't training the, I think, round trip latencies right or something. Like I don't know what Asus did that like the A2 PCB support was so bad. But generally speaking, the physical position of the memory sticks on the motherboard does not affect the timings, which are internal to the memory sticks. It can affect the round trip latencies, because the round trip latency, as far as I know, is actually like the delay from the memory controller to the memory stick and back, and that includes the like travel time on the memory traces to some extent. But yeah, timings do not change based on motherboard topology, generally speaking. They can sometimes change with like BIOS versions, but topology does not affect it. So yeah, that makes sense that you're getting rid of your gene. That is a perfectly reasonable, like, yeah, if you need like more connectivity than the gene offers, and this is one thing that bugs me so much about the gene is like personally, if I can't put a gene in my daily system, I need an extra PCIe slot for my capture card. Right? So like, hello Asus, I want a better memory topology in my daily system. I need more PCIe slots though. It can't be MATX. Well, it could be MATX, but you need to put a PCIe slot where that M.2 SSD goes. Right? Because, like, my GPU's too big. It, like, blocks all... Like, the PCIe slots under the GPU, those get covered up. So you need to put a PCIe slot above the GPU so I can put my capture card there. Because, yeah, so that's, like, really stupid, in my opinion, that, like, the one DIMM per channel board on AM5 that has, like, proper retail ability has, like, the worst PCIe slot layout. Because it's just, like... But Intel gets an Apex, because, like, I don't know. You know, the platform where they can't even properly define their power delivery specs, yeah, that gets an Apex. But AM5, yeah, no Apex for you. Here, have a Apex without the like with most of the connectivity removed, and it's just like what? Why? Anyway, Intel bribed Asus into not giving us an AMD Apex. Anyway, let's take a quick look at these timings. So 30, 38, 38, 36, 34, 70, that all looks good. 4, 8, 16, all good. 4, 14, also I'm not sure that 16 is real, but it doesn't really matter. 4, 14, good. 48, good. TRFC 558, oh, you're on 96 gigs. Yep, that makes sense. Cool. 4, 2 on your SCLs, good. TCWL28, well, you can't change that. RTP12, cool. TRDWR16 and WRD2, cool. And then 8, 8, 8, 8 on the dual rank timings, which, yeah, that's fine. I think the reads could be a bit tighter. Like, I think you could go 6, 6 instead of just 8s everywhere, but doesn't really make that much of a difference. Okay. Next super chat, and I think at this point I am going to close the submissions. I'm still going to do all the super chats that came in, but I am, like, no more. Because I've been streaming for, like, 2.5 hours at this point. And while I don't have a life, I don't feel like looking at memory timings for 4 hours straight. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, how much performance are you leaving on the table? We've got a Z790 dimmer, a dark hero with 7200 2x24, running at 7200 at 34, 42, 42, 42, 84, 2T, 10, 8, 580. That's cool. You're leaving a bit of performance on the table, not a ton. $1.45 volts. Like, the primaries aren't really... Like, TRP could go lower a little bit. Like, this could probably be 38, maybe 36 instead of 42. TRAS, you could probably go down to 40, and that gives you a little bit more performance. If this is auto timings, then TRFC per bank is unnecessarily loose, but your TREFI is so high that I don't really think it matters at this point. RTP23, that could be a 16 or a 12. TCKE 8 instead of 28. I mean, you could also just disable a bunch of the power down stuff, and I think that actually disables TCKE as well. 16.8, 20, 20, 16.8. This could be like a 60. Yeah, at 7200, this could be 60 instead of 80. And that 52 could be like a 42 instead of a 52. And then this is single rank, right? Yeah, single rank. So the rest of it doesn't matter. As for how much performance you're leaving on the table, like for PiPrime, quite a bit, but for like a bunch of other stuff, not that much. Because like the biggest, like with DDR5, the biggest performance jump you get is raising the refresh interval. And on Asus boards, you don't even really get that because Asus by default gives you 32,000, right? Whereas like JDEC is like 10,000 something. Like JDEC TREFI for DDR5 is horrendous. And so Asus motherboards, if you just use the XMP1 option, already give you like 32,000 TREFI. You have it all the way at 130,000. So like, that's like most of your easy performance gains right there. But there's certainly like things you could tighten that I don't think would cause any stability issues. Like lowering TRAS, lowering TRP a bit. Like especially lowering TRAS, like you should be actually just able to set it to like 48 and that won't hurt anything. And then like WRD SG to like 64 and WRD DG to like 44 should actually like not cause any issues whatsoever. RTP to 16, TCK to 8. You can also go into the BIOS and disable the power down options, which unfortunately you can't. I mean, you can see them in the timings here, but like like disabling disabling them in the BIOS is a bit more complicated than that. Anyway, so though with that refresh interval, I would watch your memory temperatures, because that is so high that like if the memory sticks, I think if you get to like 50C, you're gonna have a problem. Actually, I think you're gonna have a problem before you even get to 50C. With refresh interval set that high. Anyway, next super chat, and I'm actually gonna put up the submissions are closed, and I'm gonna hide the instructions. Ugh. Ooh, a Threadripper. My least favorite memory controller. Actually, no. I'm pretty sure I hate 13th gen more. Because, like, Threadripper takes forever to post. It's kind of annoying to stress test. But it's still... man, it is really close on which one I don't like more. Between Threadripper and 13th gen. That is a hard choice. Actually, Threadripper is also like worse in terms of performance, so I think I'd actually rather 13th gen. Like, because 13th gen with bad memory settings is still faster than a Threadripper. Anyway, 3960X passes mem test, passes 1.52, rare WHEA error. VDDG CCD. That's probably Infinity Fabric instability. And if I remember correctly on Threadripper, it was like the trick for like stabilizing the Infinity Fabric at high speeds was to run a lot of IO die and really low CCD or something like that. Like one of them, like if you raise it, it causes the stability to get worse. And the other one, if you raise it, the stability gets better. Like I think for 1900 FCLK, I needed to set like IO die to like 1.15 or something. Yeah. So if you're getting like rare WHEA errors, I'm gonna say it's FCLK, and the fix is to like raise IO die voltage probably, if I remember correctly. And lower CCD, honestly. Like I'd probably set CCD to like 1 volt and IO die to 1.1 is what I would try for that. If I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, TCL 14, 13, 13, 13, 2640, that all looks good. 4416, 4810, all good. TRFC 241, good. SCL's at 22, cool. Yeah, this is all good. These are just like good, like very generic B-die timings, but they're good timings. Like, that's why B-die is the best, is because if you have like, to be fair, you can get bad B-die, but if you have, like, a proper bin of B-die, like 3600 CL14, or 3200 CL14, or 4400 CL19, or 4000 CL19, or You get the idea. You can basically punch in, like, the primaries vary quite a bit, but the secondaries, like the 4, 4, 16, 4, 8, 10, 240, 2, 2, 12, 6, 8, that is really consistent, and it works, and it's good, and it's fast. And also you have your, because this is dual rank, yeah, it's 64 gigs, so 4, 4, 6, 6, yeah, all good. Timings are good. The instability, I really think, is going to be like your FCLK. The other option is you drop the FCLK to like 1833, right? Like, there is the 3666 ratio. If you don't feel like chasing down whatever's causing all those errors. And that's not really going to change your performance very much because it's such a small ratio change. Anyway, so next super chat. Got another Ryzen system. Sure do have a lot of those. This 7800X3D at 6200. Oh, this is very high voltage, isn't it? Yep. Voltage so high it's at 0 volts. But like, see, and this is why we don't trust software, because according to this, the memory sticks shouldn't be running. But anyway, so 26, 35, 35. So these are good sticks that they can do that, the TRCD. 30, 28, 58. Yeah, this is, yeah, so those primaries are good. And 4416. So, yep, it's an Asus board because I think both Gigabyte and ASRock wouldn't. Actually, ASRock might let you, but Gigabyte won't. And I'm not sure that TFOS16 is real. But anyway, WTRS2, WTRL14. Yeah, so that's about as low as those go. TWR48, TRFC 376, E-die at very high voltage. SCL's at 4.2, TCUWL24, RTP12. Yeah, this all looks good. And then, like, it is a single rank setup, so the dual rank timings don't matter. And TREFI 65,000. Yeah. This is just like... Oh, and you're even getting 2200 FCLK, and you're doing it at 1.2 SoC. Yeah, this is like... I mean, it's not literally peak 1-to-1 mode, right? Because, like, peak 1-to-1 mode would be, like, 6400 at CL28 or something. Or I guess if you were really heavy-handed with the VDD slider, VDD setting, it would be like 6400 at CL26. Which would probably need like 1.8 volts or something, unless you got really good memory sticks. Yeah, this seems like a reasonable peak performance setup, to me at least. Like, this is probably like 1.65 volts or 1.6, but that's still like pretty reasonable. As far as I'm concerned. Anyway, last super chat. Let's go. Got an Apex Encore running 7800 CL32 with a 13900 KS on a monitor that has too many pixels. Anyway, so is this a 16 gigabit? Oh yeah, this is 16 gig. 15 hours Carhu. I don't see a Y cruncher though. Oh, there we go. That is a lot of Y cruncher. Yep, that all looks good. So I would like for daily. Yeah, I would consider that daily stable. Anyway, let's go through this. So we got 32, 44, 18, 44, 56. That all looks good. 2T88444. Oh, right. Wait. Oh, yeah, E-die. Oh, what are you cooling these with? Oh, these are water cooled, aren't they? Yeah, water cooled. Okay. Yeah, because the memory sticks are at 27 degrees. Wait, what do they hit in Y cruncher then? 30. Yeah, because Y cruncher, the water temp's going to be higher. That's kind of funny is like if you air cooled the memory sticks, Y-Cruncher actually runs lower memory temperatures, but when you water cool the memory sticks with the same water that cools your CPU, yeah, your memory sticks get warmer for Y-Cruncher because Y-Cruncher heats up the water more. Also, I'm guessing you're like running a manual CPU overclock with this, right? Not the Intel boost profile. So what kind of power are you doing for Y-Cruncher? Oh yeah, 360 watts. Yeah. Yeah, that would do it. Because like Karhu doesn't hit the power limit, but Y-Cruncher does. If you're on like the stock 14900K power limit, like it'll just smash right into it. Or 13900KS, like it doesn't matter. And if you don't have a power limit, it pulls 360 watts. Assuming that your DC load line is properly calibrated. Because the power reading over here is calculated from the vid, which if you're using like override voltage, then the vid and the vcore won't necessarily line up, and then your power reading is going to be completely wrong. The 360 watts actually seems correct for what looks like 5.7 all-core. So, yeah, that all makes sense. Let's look at them timings. You can run TWR15. Why does that not work for me? Anyway, 88444, 15, 12, 32, 8, 30. Nice. 16, 8, 20, 20, 16, 8, 60, 46. Dual rank timings disabled and TWR at 49 and 50. Yeah, that like doesn't work for me. I don't know why. T-Fall 32. Yeah, well his SG is at like 8.8. So like it doesn't matter. Like yeah, you could set it to 16 and it wouldn't make a difference. What the power draw is always based on vid? Yeah, the package power reading is always based on vid. That's why the DC load line setting exists. Because Intel's power delivery is, like, the way it was designed is nuts. Because instead of just asking the VRM, like, instead of just having an accurate power sensor, they're, like, reverse calculating the power consumption based on a bunch of assumptions that may or may not be correct. And the main reason they're doing this, I think, is because they want to be able to, like, if the assumptions are correct, this is a really, really fast and cheap way of calculating your power consumption. But if the assumptions are wrong, your power readings are completely useless. So, you know. And like if you basically the only manufacturer that has like the like accurate like the only manufacturer that really cares about their power readings is Nvidia. And everybody else is like trying to spend the least amount of money to get kind of close to a power reading that might be representative of reality. Actually, AMD CPUs are pretty decent. At least as long as the motherboard is working correct. Like this, well, no, they still run into the same issue. Like if the motherboard is designed wrong, it's going to underreport or overreport power. And Intel has the same issue. If the motherboard is designed or implemented wrong, it's going to underreport or overreport power. And then there's Nvidia, where it's like, you know what? Instead of just praying that the power delivery is correctly set up to measure the power consumption, we have a dedicated power measurement chip. Imagine that. And we just use that for the power measurements. And it can't be set up wrong because there's nothing to set up. It always measures the same thing the same way on every board because every board uses the same chip with the same configuration because everybody has the same shunts on the same power connectors. So it can never be incorrect. But that's like extra cost, right? It's like, well, so yeah, so meanwhile at AMD and Intel, it's like, well, as long as the VRM isn't set up wrong, it'll be accurate. And then the VRM sometimes is set up wrong, and then it's not accurate. Whereas like NVIDIA trusts the VRM so little that there's literally no way to get measurements from it. Like on NVIDIA GPUs, you just straight up do not get to pull the VRM directly. AC/DC synced. This is manual vCore 1.38 LLC6. The vid might be correct. I'm not sure, like, because if you have, like, manual... It's probably wrong, and I think it's probably wrong downwards. You'd basically have to, like, manually make sure, like, when you're running Y-Cruncher, you'd basically have to manually make sure that your vCore reading, which is 1.234 over here. Oh, wait, your vid also looks like it hit 1.23-ish. Okay, so this actually looks like it's properly matched. Yeah. Like if your minimum voltage when running like a stress test is the same as your like if your minimum vid and minimum vCore, and this is for Asus motherboards, high-end Asus motherboards specifically, because if you have a cheap Asus motherboard, this sensor isn't accurate. It doesn't measure like die sense; it measures garbage. Like it measures socket voltage, which is like 70, 50 millivolts off, depending on how well. Like it's anywhere from 0 to like 80 millivolts off, depending on how much current the CPU is pulling, because again, just, you know. But yeah, this is a, like, this looks like a nice, solid setup. Timings look good. I'm still, like, I'm still confused as to, like, why it is that I can't, like, especially on the E-die kit, like, that was, like, the big thing for me, was, like, I stopped touching TWR and the stability problems stopped. And now I'm testing the 24 gigabit M-die kit, and I've basically ended up at the same TWR. Though I do plan to do, like I do actually want to do one more test of, like, TWR with the M-die kit, where, like, after I record the video of, like, hey, these are stable settings, I'm going to go and check if, like, you know, lowering the TWR really is just instant recipe for failure with my setup. Because I didn't do quite as much testing of that with the E-die kit, but thing is, like, you're even running tighter WRD SG than I am, and I couldn't get away with that either. Actually, what memory voltage is this at? Oh, 1.6. Well, it's CAS 32, so that makes sense. What does it measure on Rampage 4? I don't know. I'd have to check. Apparently X58 or like some X58 motherboards are accurate. I've heard from somebody else, but I haven't actually checked that. They could be. I don't know. Rampage 4 is X79. Yeah, I know. Like, my first motherboard was a Rampage 4 Extreme. Anyway, if you don't mind at the end, wait, you changed stuff? Wait, I recognize that username, so yeah, sure, I'll take a look. Man, I keep including like an extra space when copying these links. Changed based on what you said. 32, 42, 42, 40, 76, 116, 88, 32, 6, 18, 48, 480, 88, 30, 16. Yeah, this looks much better. TREFI, raise TREFI. Like there shouldn't, yeah, like raise TREFI. That's the, like, why did I not mention that you should like raise TREFI? I swear there were like this wasn't you, but there was definitely somebody else where I was like hard stuck on the fact that they didn't raise TREFI because they did like a bunch of other stuff, and then it's like, well, what is this TREFI? Why is it on auto? How do you change every other timing and then leave TREFI alone? It's like checking everything on your car and then forgetting to put gas in it. And then being surprised that it doesn't run. Is 65,000 safe? Should be. Like, the main concern with TREFI is usually just temperature. And I can't see any, like, your system probably won't have temperature issues, but you could also just set it to like 32,000 or 40,000, and that would still give you a big performance boost. No, it wouldn't be check gas and refill oil. It would be like refill oil, check tires, like take the car apart, take the entire car apart, check everything, put it back together, and then wonder why it doesn't start because you didn't put gas in it. No, on AMD you can't set it higher than 65,000, but also it doesn't really affect performance past 65,000 because of the following effect. So here's like why. So basically with TREFI, if you keep raising it, it makes less and less difference. And the reason it makes less and less difference is because the way TREFI works is it is the amount of clock cycles between refresh commands. Okay? So basically this setup here, we have a refresh cycle of 480 clock cycles. And we have a refresh interval of 13,644 clocks refresh interval. So when we send a refresh cycle, we wait for 480. So we send a refresh command, and then we can't do anything for 480 cycles, right? And then 13,644 cycles from the beginning of that, from that refresh command, we send another refresh command. So this doesn't, like, they're not, like, the TREFI doesn't get added at the end of this 480. It's, like, in parallel with the 480. What? Why is it? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. There we go. Anyway, so you basically have this situation where you have, like, TRFC, TREFI. Also, that should be a little t. It doesn't matter, right? So you see how that works. So if TRFC is a 480 clock cycles, and your refresh interval is 1,364, I mean, 13,644, 3.5% of your available memory clock cycles are spent refreshing, right? So 3.5% of the time, you can't read, you can't write, you can't do anything. Now, if we set it to 32,000, right, now it's just 1.5%. And if you go and set it to 65,000, now it's just 0.7%, right? And if you set it to, well, on Intel, you can set it all the way to, like, 262,000. And then it's like 0.02%. I mean, not 0.02, it's like 0.2%, right? So from 65,000 to 262,000 makes a lot less of a difference than going from like the initial like 13,000 to like 32,000 to like 65,000. And on AMD it maxes out at 65,000. So yeah. And if your refresh interval is too long, and your like memory temperature is too high, because basically the higher your memory temperature is, the faster, because memory is just a bunch of capacitors. The higher the temperature of the memory stick, the faster those capacitors discharge, which is why we have to refresh them, right? Because they're always going to be slowly discharging. And the colder the memory stick is, the better the capacitors like store charge. The warmer the memory stick, the more charge just kind of leaks out of them. So at high temperatures, you need a low refresh interval so that the data doesn't disappear. But at low temperatures, you can run a very high refresh interval, which is what we're seeing with like this setup over here with the, you know, like water-cooled memory sticks. So the memory sticks literally max out at like 30 degrees Celsius. And then you can run like 262,000 refresh interval. Not that it's much faster than 65,000, but, you know, it is technically faster. But your biggest performance jump is that just initial step from JDEC refresh interval, which is usually somewhere around 10,000, to like 60K or like 50, 60, or even 32K. But like 50, 60K is usually where it's like more than that, you really start having to worry about temperature more and more. And less than that, the performance kind of sucks. Like, I think 60K usually works up to like over 60 degrees, but not over 70 or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, that'll be it. No, JDEC isn't 5K. It's usually like 7K to 15K. What's the refresh for 100C? Don't run your RAM at 100C. No, it's like, I think for 100, like, I don't think the effect is linear. Why XMP timings are so bad? Because they want the RAM to work. And they don't want to spend, like, forever testing everything at the factory. TREFIX9? TREFIX9 is for, like shuffling refreshes around. So, I'm going to have to bring paint back. Cool. So, you know how I wrote, like, so we have, like, this setup with, like, TRFC, right? So, what if you have something, like, super important that you're, like, doing here, and you don't want to do this, right? So what Intel, like what the CPU and like memory manufacturers came up with is like, well, what if we just like delayed this into the future? And we did that 9 times. So what you end up with is like, you end up with like, and you can do this up to 9 times. 1, 2, this is 6. And basically, it'll take the, like, you'll have like a refresh here, 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 and here. And basically, it'll take all of these refreshes and it'll just do them all like one after the other at the very end, right? So you basically get like 9 refresh intervals with no refresh at all. So if there's like some really important thing you're doing, you get like this temporary boost of performance. This is a lot more important if your refresh interval is really short, right? Like, yeah, if you have JDEC refresh interval, this is really, really important. If you have 260,000, it's like, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so you can take all of your refreshes and you can just shove them into the future. And then when the future hits, you have, like, basically it'll, like, hard stall memory access for, like, well, your TRFC times 9, right? Where it's like, if your TRFC is 500 cycles, you'll get, like, almost 5,000 cycles of absolutely nothing being like possible. But like that's for the memory. That's like for Intel, AMD, and the memory controller to worry about. That's not for the end user to worry about. Like this is still so little time that this is in the microsecond scale, right? Because one clock cycle is 1 divided by, like, if you're at DDR5 6000, or even if you're at DDR5 3000, right? It's like 1 divided by 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Actually, wait, I botched that. It's like there. And that's 1 second divided by this. And that's 1 clock cycle, right? So if you multiply that by 5,000, I mean, we can just lop these zeros off, and you're still down in, like, you know, microsecond territory. So it like sound like it might sound kind of bad if like, oh, you can't read the memory for like 5,000 cycles, but like 5,000 cycles is nothing. Because the cycles are so very, very fast. Right? Like milliseconds are like 1 divided by 1,000. And we're still like we're still going to be dividing by like 1.5 million. So, anyway, is it possible to achieve above 2200 FCLK on Ryzen 7000 7800 7800X3D? If you get really, really, really lucky, maybe. Should I even bother setting X950 to X9127? I would just set it to 2. Like, I just set it to the register limit. Like, I'm pretty sure once you set refresh interval above, like, there's like an equation for calculating the TREFI X9, and I've tried working it out for like refresh intervals higher than like 30,000, and it just breaks. Like, I think it actually just stops doing anything. So, yeah, so I usually just set it to 255. I think Asus BIOS actually defaults it to 255, and I have like not really run into any issues with that. Because the thing is, like, because it's like a ratio of how much the refresh can be delayed. And if I'm not mistaken, once you go above like 60,000, I think it might actually just get disabled. Or something. Because it like works out, even if it's set to like 255, it like can't match the length of the refresh interval. So like, yeah, not super clear about that. I've not really run into any reason, like, yeah, I've not seen, like, I've not found it, like, I haven't cared to look into it very much. So I just, like, set it to 255 and call it a day. You have TRCD and RP to 2022, RTP to, like, 6.8 does anything, or is even real? RTP is read to pre-charge. It's measured from the end of a read burst. Oh, no. Do I pull up Paint again? I guess yes. Man, So, it, like, let's say I have a, we'll go with idle. We'll go with idle memory. And then I want to act, read, pre. Right? I want to go through that full chain, and then I want to do another act. So what that's going to look like is it's going to look like, well, in terms of timings, it's going to look like TRCD, TCL, and this is assuming that TRAS is shorter than these added together. So if TRAS I'm pretty sure, actually 4. If we're talking DDR4, it'll be +4. If we're talking DDR5, it'll be +8. Because that's the read burst. And this starts after the read burst. Yeah, pretty sure that's after the read burst. So what that actually looks like is, well, I don't know why I bothered to write it out like that. That was really stupid of me. So the full chain is like, you do your act command, then you wait for TRCD, then you do a read command, you wait for TCL, then you have your data burst. So I could have totally just done this in I could have totally done this in like freaking... no, actually, Paint is best in this scenario. And then you have... you're right, you have your pre-command, and then you have TRP, and then you have act. Because RAM is really dumb. And so, yeah, like this can be... So, like, what was it? Was it like... What was the question again? The hell? Where did it go? Oh, if TRCD and TRP to like 20, like let's say your timings were like, well, no, it doesn't matter because like they would literally just be like, let's say TRCD is 22. Okay, we just wait for 22 cycles, and here we might wait for 18 cycles because we've got garbage, you know, like freaking Samsung C-die, and then it's like, well, this could be 4, this could be 8. This could be 52. Actually, it couldn't because I don't think that's supported by the memory controller, but it could be like 32 or something, right? And it just like, it just moves when the controller sends the pre-charge command. Like, there's no rules here. The memory chip is, like, memory chips are really dumb. And if the memory controller decides to wait 1,000 clock cycles to send that pre-charge command, yeah, it'll wait, like the memory chip will wait 1,000 clock cycles because, right, like, keep in mind, like, what if we wanted to read a bunch of stuff, right? Then we'd have, like, this, then we'd have this TCL and data burst block, right? This would just be over and over and over and over again. And actually, we could, like, we could do reads and we could do writes and we could like literally, like, you wouldn't actually want to do this because this is usually really slow, but you could literally just sit there with one open row and just keep reading and writing out of it. You wouldn't even probably have to refresh it. Ever. You'd just have like, I think like a very small memory capacity. You'd have like, I think you'd have like a few kilobytes of RAM, if even that, because like a single row is not that much memory. But yeah, so you could totally sit there just reading and writing out of like a single row without ever sending a refresh or ever sending a pre-charge command. And all the data in the rest of the memory array would like disappear. But you know, if you didn't care about that data, that doesn't matter. It's not the memory chip's problem that you forgot to refresh your data. Right? Memory chips, really dumb. That's why like I don't like I know there's like a bunch of rules out there that are like, "Oh, you like timings have like rules." And it's like not really, no. Right? Like you can set your RTP to whatever the hell you like. Like actually the only thing here that wouldn't be adjustable is the data burst, which for DDR4 is going to be 4 cycles and DDR5 is 8. Right? Like that this is the one thing you can't change because that's just like how the memory, like that's just how data gets outputted. It's either in 4 or 8 cycles. For workstation with 4x16 that can't run easily at those speeds, does 3600, 1618, 18, 3674 sound a good compromise for speed stability? Oh, you have a 3600 rated kit and it only works at 3000. I mean, if you need this computer to work, then like the computer working is more important than it being fast, isn't it? So like unless you have the option to like get the memory kit replaced with a better one. Like that's kind of that. Anyway, I've been now streaming for over 3 hours, so that'll be the end. Our memory timing's more important than FCLK for gaming latency. On Ryzen 7000, yes. On Ryzen 5000, no. Well, not... Yeah, Ryzen like 3000, if you're... Ryzen 3000 and 5000, FCLK is... Like, you don't want to be at like 3000, DDR4 3000. Like, you really don't, unless you're desperate. Because the FCLK has, like, the delay from moving data from the memory controller to the CPU is so big, which is done by the FCLK, that, like, running the FCLK at 1800 instead of 1500 is a big deal. But for Ryzen 7000, I mean, you still really don't want to be... Actually, no, a Ryzen 7000, like 2000 FCLK with DDR5 4800 is garbage. So on Ryzen 7000, you actually, like, priority number 1 is getting the memory clocked as high as possible and then raising refresh interval. Anyway, that'll actually be it for the stream. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the super chats. There are links in the description that I would appreciate if you would check out. And yeah, goodbye, I guess.